Welcome to the Chain Out podcast with your hosts, Jeremy and Daryl.
Hey everyone, welcome to Chain Out. Jeremy here, episode 40. And that dapper fella in the green Edga shirt with me is your favorite co-host, Daryl. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic, Jeremy. How are you?
Good, sir. You know, I was thinking episode 40. So this podcast of ours used to be an MJ player or an FJ player, whichever, back in the day.
Yeah.
Eventually it started working its way through the MA ranks. And now, as of today, it can finally play in our division. It's part of the age-protected divisions.
Yeah. still in the MA 40 division. We're not MP 40 yet.
No, not quite. Maybe if we get some more pros on the show, that'll up it to MP. What do you think?
All the pro mindset that we've been getting, all these tips and tricks we've been getting will be MP 40 before you know it.
Yes. So I got an email this week, my friend. Did you get an email from Edga possibly?
I did. Stating that, after a couple of weeks ago, we had the alternate layout, the alternate tee pads for all the holes.
Yes.
I had another email saying that things were going to get crazy for the next couple of weeks as well. I thought we were done with all the craziness, Jeremy.
Well, yeah, I know. We're playing in this Rundle League where we're supposed to get the best score we possibly can. Yeah. But every time we show up, there's a little kink in the works that we have to deal with.
Yeah. Are you excited about the new change that's coming?
I am. And maybe let's not keep the audience in suspense for too long.
Yeah.
But all of our local listeners, if you've been out at Rundle, you'll know that hole 9 is a downhill hole where there's a toboggan hill to the side.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to say halfway up that hill, I'm guessing. Where the tee box is.
I've never actually looked behind me and looked up at that top of that toboggan hill. So, yeah. The email said that the new tee pad for hole 9 is going to be top of the world. It's going to be top of the bank. And I don't know how far that is. I haven't looked up there.
Well, I've driven by it a number of times when I'm driving to park, but it's top of the world. It's going to be quite the shot. And I don't know. I've never thrown a shot. I've thrown from some elevated positions. I guess that WJ Homestead was the highest one I've had. So right. I do have a little experience. I'm going to tell you, your disc is going to do a lot of different things and probably none of the ones you think it's going to do.
Exactly. I was just going to ask in the chat, if you're throwing from elevation downhill, what will your disc do? Is it going to be more understable? Because I believe if you throw uphill, your disc stalls out, so it'll end up fading earlier. So you're supposed to throw a more understable disc uphill. So if you're throwing downhill, are you supposed to throw a more overstable disc? That's what I'm guessing.
All I'll tell you is that once it does make its decision, it's going that direction. That's what I learned.
We do anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, that's something that's going to be exciting for us tomorrow. So probably next week we can share with everybody how it actually went.
Yeah.
And we did get to play in a big tournament over the weekend, but I think we'll save that for maybe later on in the show.
One of the biggest tournaments. Yeah. Let's get right to what we've got on this episode coming up, Jeremy.
All right. Well, tonight we are talking about the 5th Canadian A-Tier of 2024, the Eastern Canadian Amateur Nationals. We'll start with our Canadian A-Tier fantasy picks, and we'll update you on how well Daryl did.
As you mentioned, it's the Eastern Canadian Amateur Nationals episode, so we're going to have Tournament Director John Pytle joining us to talk about how the whole event went.
That's right. And then afterwards, we're going to have the FPO and MPO winners, the Ontario Super Siblings, Sandi and Martin Hendel on the show.
Yeah, after the interviews, we're going to get right to that major event, Wally's 100. We're going to let you know how the whole event went down and how it went for us.
That's right. And then we'll answer any questions. So if you have questions for us or for our guests, start putting them in the comments as we go. And we always love our secret word, so start thinking of one of those.
Yeah. And we're obviously going to wrap up the Canadians down on the DGPT We'll let you know how they're doing and what they're getting up to this week.
I
But
think it might-
first, Jeremy,
Mhm.
let's get to those fantasy picks. We don't want to keep anybody in suspenders any longer. It was the fantasy week. As you say, we did a special fantasy episode. We had a special guest, Miles Ladder from Miles of Discs. If you've seen him on Instagram, if you didn't get a chance to watch that episode, go back. Spoiler, the event has already happened, but you can still go and see what happened with our picks. But first, I'd like to hand it over to my co-host Jeremy for the ad read.
Yes. So, talking about our fantasy episodes, they're sponsored by BR Disc Golf. Brendan is providing us with a $10 gift card for the winner of each week to give away. If the winner gets 15 points, it will be a $15 gift card. And if they get 20 points, it will be a $20 gift card. Also, BR Disc Golf is offering $5 shipping right now. You can pick up your orders on Thursdays at Rundle League Night. Thank you, Brendan. We appreciate your support, and we had a great time hanging out with you at Wally's.
We did, yeah. Well, let's not waste too much time. Like we said, we did have Miles. He was our special guest this week, being from the East Coast, well, Central East Coast. We thought it'd be great to have him on. He would know a lot of the locals, and he did. He was telling us a lot of great stories about a lot of the names that were coming up. In a perfect world, in a normal, regular episode, 22 points is the most you can get. In this episode, there were 14 MPOs and 3 FPOs in the tournament. So normally we would pick 3 MPOs, 3 FPOs. In this tournament, we picked 3 MPOs, and then that just left us 1 FPO to pick from each other. I'm going to bring up the picks, Jeremy, so everybody can see our teams.
Yes.
But really, all you want to look at is what is down the bottom. Who came in bronze, who came in silver, and who got the gold medal. Team Shambles taking down the win with 12 points.
Throw your hands in the air. Continue to wave them like you just don't care.
There you go. Everybody doubted Team Shambles in the beginning. So let's add those points to our previous events points. And we'll see that Team Shambles is taking a runaway lead.
Well, you know what?
For second and third is quite close.
That's right. I'm starting to close in on the guest votes there. So the next guest is going to have some work to do to pull back that lead that in second place.
Yeah. Let's go to the tournament standings. So whoever won whoever had the most points, Team Shambles takes down the win again. I got to give a shout out to Mark Thompson. He's the only other person that is worthy of a challenge to me. He took down the win. I believe it was the BC Open.
Right. Yes.
Jeremy, there's only 5 episodes left.
No, I'm going to give you a correction.
Okay.
It seems like they're adding Canadian A tiers left, right, and center.
Yeah.
So there are actually 11 A tiers. So I've got 6 more chances.
But 6 more chances to come. So you can still win.
Yes, I can.
Yeah. And obviously, in the event of a tie, I don't think it's going to be. In the event of a tie, if you had the most points and I had the tournament wins, we would go to the fan vote. We put our picks out on Instagram. We put them out there. We have a little poll on our pinned Instagram post. We let the listeners vote whose team they think is going to win. We run it normally from Friday through to Saturday evening. We close it down for the final day. Do you know what, Jeremy?
What happened there?
Team Shambles took down the win of the fan vote as well.
Yeah. I'm going to say, Daryl.
Yeah.
I think that the fans have been looking at who's been winning. And this time the fan vote swayed your way. But I did get Brendan's vote. So I know at least I had one person on my side.
At least one other person was wrong. So because I took down the win with 12 points, that means that all the people that voted and left a comment on the YouTube video, if you voted on Instagram, we're going to put you into the draw. You will be eligible to win the $10 gift card. As Jeremy mentioned, Brendan at BR Disc Golf gives us a gift card to give away. You have to vote on the team to be able to be eligible to win the gift card.
That's right.
So thank you to everybody who voted on our picks this week. But that's enough about the fantasy episode, Jeremy. Why don't we get right into the meat and potatoes of this episode?
Well, it'll be good, Daryl, because you know how much I like to talk, and I just had to pretty much sit quiet for that whole fantasy part because I didn't have, I didn't even have enough points to really throw some shade or even possible shade there. Next time, though, buddy. Next time.
We're not even going to mention Miles. We'll just let him be. But one thing I should say before we do move on,
Yes.
the next event that we're doing, we're coming into a busy stretch of fantasy episodes right now. 2 weeks time, August 30th to September 1st is our next fantasy episode. The next day tier, Falcons Flight, down at Aspen Meadows in Sundre, Alberta, near Calgary. We'll have another episode then. We'll have another new guest as well.
Yeah, and you're not going to want to miss that one. And I see Dylan's in the chat, and Dylan will vouch for me on this one. We've talked about him before. The nicest guy in disc golf, and I can say that with utmost confidence from playing with him. Yeah, no, sorry, buddy. You got a little ways to go to get to that status. But no, this is Alex Penny from Calgary. He's going to join us to pick Falcons Flight. And Falcons has got so many people playing in it and so many pros. Dude, I'm going to be starstruck, I think, most of the weekend, just meeting all of these guests we've had on the show and other pros that we haven't had a chance to talk to. It's going to be fantastic.
Awesome.
And you know what, Daryl, one other thing too, is we talked about having Miles on the show. Yeah. So Miles, he's got a lot of great content that he puts out. He does his new mold Mondays. Every Monday, he's got a new mold from Innova that he's showing off.
Yeah.
And then he's also got his Terminology Tuesdays, and I know you love them both. Yeah. So we'll have everybody, make sure if you want to check Miles out, go to his Instagram account, and that's at Miles of Disc. Miles of Discs or Miles O Discs?
Miles of Discs.
Miles of Discs. That's how you can follow him. So please check him out too.
Absolutely.
Give him some love.
Give him some love from the chain gang.
That's right. Well, I think it's time to get to our first guest.
Let's do it, Jeremy.
Our first guest is the tournament director for the Eastern Canadian.
Can I just interrupt you for 1 second?
Sure.
John, if you're watching on Instagram, if you're watching on YouTube, we're coming to you right now.
That's right. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say a couple extra words and just take a little bit of time here to give you that time to realize that you're on right now. Our first guest is the tournament director of the Eastern Canadian Amateur Nationals. He's been a PDGA member since 2015. Hailing from Bourget, Ontario, he is also the owner of the Eddyville Super Spin Disc Golf Center. We are happy to have John Pytle on the show. Welcome, John.
Hello.
Hey, John. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. Can you guys good? Everything coming through okay?
Yeah, you're sounding good. You're looking good.
Yeah, it's looking like you've got a background there that maybe was used to give awards away this past weekend. Am I right about that?
Yes, you are. That's the banner we had this weekend for the event.
Nice. Yeah. So how are you doing right now? Are you has everything kind of calmed down? Is the course back to normal? Have you had a chance maybe to even get some sleep?
Yeah, we're each year it seems to be a little harder to recover from these things, but it was a smooth event. So yeah, we're doing okay. Still a bit of cleanup going on outside, dismantling a few tents and stuff, but by and large, it was another smooth event.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Yeah. Have you, I know we've spoken to other TDs before, and kind of one of the things that they always want to make sure they get done first. Have you paid all the pros?
Actually, yes, we're still in that process. It's every year I get caught in this. I exceed my limits on Interact transfers, so we're waiting for another 24-hour window. But the couple that haven't been paid, I contacted them, and the second my next window opens up, we'll get it over to them. But yeah, it's always an issue sometimes pushing all that money around at the end with some of the limits we have. But yeah.
Well, John, awesome. One of our TDs out here, Wally O'Volley, he had just done his 100th tournament. And when we were talking with him about it, what he had said is he said, he tried the PayPal, he tried the transfer thing, and he said, forget about it. He stuffs money in envelopes, hands them out, and then he's done. He won't stop going that route.
Yeah, we did it. sorry, we did that a year or two ago too, just to try to make it simpler. But then I remember writing to my bank to try to get that much money out, and there, it was going all over the place. And then of course my accountants is going to be a nightmare. So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, at least we're giving out enough money that it blows away some of these limits. So that's the good part of it, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, we were looking there too, and we saw that this is the third championship that's been at the Eddyville Super Spin course. You had a second Eastern Canadian, but you had another one before that as well. Am I right with my research?
Yeah, kind of. It's a spin-off of a couple of Ontario championships we've held. So it's probably my fifth go at a TD A tier here now, and I guess as far as big events, we hosted back in 2016, I think, the provincials again. So we've had 3 Ontario provincials here, and then we cooked up this Eastern Canadian Amateur National as something to stand on its own, and so far so good.
Yeah. And looking at the kind of the information on disc golf scene, the real goal of it is to bring Ontario, Quebec, Maritimes, and kind of the northern states together. Is that what the goal is as it continues to grow?
Well, the vision was to create an open event for amateurs, and just trying to market to Eastern Canadian players. You know, kind of where we're geographically situated. There's something like over 60% of Canada's population is within 5-6 hour drive of here.
Wow.
So you know, we're very very close to the Quebec border, and even the southern western part of Ontario isn't too bad to get up here. Although you know, it's like everything, it's a bit of a haul. And you know, we have 2 courses, access to another course, so we can upscale a little bit. So we're just hoping to provide that bigger disc golf experience festival, lots of divisions type of thing. And yeah, it's you know, it's the numbers weren't as probably as high as we would have liked this year, but all things considered, it was still a great success, and you know, we're motivated to keep going, and lots of great player feedback, lots of people that we only kind of see that time of the year, and they make the effort and they say they'll be back. So we're very pleased by all that.
Good. Yeah. You touched on it there, and I'm just wondering, do you have any reasoning or correlation as to why your numbers were not as great as or where you had expected them? I know we spoke to a few TDs up at the event this weekend, and they had mentioned that scheduling is one of those big things, right? But there's only a certain amount of weekends that you can have in the year to run an event.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we have to get our schedule out so early as A tiers, and this would probably be, you know, a discussion topic with a bit of the PDGA or something, to see if there could be a bit of a better way. But kind of post our scheduling, along come all these tours and series that are happening in the provinces, and you know, they definitely try to schedule with everybody. And while they may avoid your weekend, you know, I was bookended by 2 Quebec tour events. So we saw a lot of Quebec participants withdraw or not come, and it's kind of understandable to 3 weekends with a 3-day, 4-day A tier in the middle can be hard. So you know, it'd be nice to see some level of a standard applied to some of these tours and series or qualifiers, such that they have to get a schedule out that we can all kind of work with, I guess. But you know, the PDJ is pretty wide open about their sanctioning, and it is what it is. And you know, nobody ever wants to force a player to travel anywhere else. And you know, we are in Eastern Ontario. We're not, you know, we're not that central Southern Ontario. And you know, you're seeing their events are just selling out and well attended, but the player base there is just going through the roof. So I think it's just those peaks and valleys and ebbs and flows of things, and um, lots of choice out there. People are traveling. Everything's
Yeah.
kind of back on. I think money's a little tighter too. It's not a cheap event, to register for and things like that. So I think a combination of everything, but um,
Yeah.
hopefully, I mean, we don't, there's no bottom to the numbers that you need, other than it just gets maybe a little impractical to have a
Yeah.
small field A tier. But
Right.
we've got the capacity, and you know we do what we can do, I guess.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, we had Cam Zanini on the show not too long ago, and we were talking about the event as it was coming up. And he was talking about how great the courses were up there and how much he enjoyed them. So we haven't been out there. I am from Ontario, but I haven't been up to your area in a long time. And we saw that you have the Axiom Island Dunes course, and then you've got the MVP Dream course as well. What can you tell us about those courses and how they're set up?
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, we're pretty flat here. We don't have the elevation we'd like, but the two courses somewhat complement each other, and they're a little bit different. I would say the MVP Dream course is definitely longer. It's like a par 67, and it's kind of like a big first nine holes, and the 8 holes, and then last 10 holes are wooded and through the woods. There's 4 or 5 water shots on it. A little tighter woods golf to finish, and that original 8 or 9 holes of that course have been there forever, and they are just some of the best golf courses that are about best string of 9 holes you'll see out there.
Yeah.
Then you get over to the Axiom Island Dunes. It has a little bit of woods at the beginning, and then it kind of turns into a bunch of islands, grass islands, no water. So it gets a little technical and more wide open at the end, and just kind of a tough finishing kind of course if you're in a tight battle. There's
Mm.
not too much margin for error with 4 or 5 islands happening in the last 8 holes.
Yeah.
Lots of OB. Yeah, and then that course is on our old motocross track, so there's teeing off of
Oh,
motocross jumps and things like that. So we make some use of create some elevation, but that's kind of where the dunes and the islands came from.
Right.
nice.
Yeah.
No, that sounds really interesting for sure. And it seems every time Daryl and I are talking to a guest and we're talking about courses, especially now in Ontario as well, doesn't it seem like it, Daryl? We've
Yeah.
got probably 25 courses, or at least a dozen, right? That we need to stop at. And you've just added 2 more on the list. That's for sure.
Yeah. And it always seems like these courses are something different than what we have locally, right? There's either really tight wooded courses, or there's island and water, there's hills, or like, I don't think we've ever played on a motocross course before with, man-made islands and motocross jumps and things like that. So that'd be really interesting to have a look at.
Yeah, there's also some hydro towers and things like that come into play, and things like that. But and I think one of the other little bonuses of the experience here is you can show up and there's 2 courses. You can play 36 holes, and fill a nice day.
Yeah.
Fill your day with a lot of golf.
Yeah. Well, one thing as you continue to build this event, John, the Canadian Disc Golf Tour decided this year, and that's part of where we're covering the A tiers, is that every Canadian A tier would be part of the tour, and then every Canadian B tier would be part of the tour. But then I know next year it's going to get a little bit more specific. You're going to have to sign up and be part of it. Is that something that you see value in and that you'd want your event to continue to be a part of?
Well, yeah, absolutely. You know, I've been through my channels trying to get a discussion with all the A-tier TDs and trying to string something together to kind of matter maybe in Canada, and some of my other sport experiences we participated in, like motocross or that. They kind of have an Eastern and a Western championship, like an Eastern national and a Western national, give everybody some opportunities not to do all that travel. Then these events kind of culminate in a national something or other. So kind of in the same context, you could kind of hopefully string some A tiers together and maybe recognize an East and a West champion, an overall champion. We're always going to, I think, have issues with Canada and its size and the market to put on anything of a major tour. It'll always be something a little smaller than we'd ever see in the States, or a lot smaller, but it still doesn't hurt to try. And in a lot of sports, the manufacturers and sponsors will still support players playing on a tour like that or something. So definitely interested in, and of course, we're never going to bring on major sponsorship as individuals. We need to
Right.
get companies that are going to sponsor the whole program and whatnot. So, and as a handful of TDs, I don't know how much everybody's time is, but I'm pretty stretched trying to run a couple of courses here and do all that work in the pro shop and everything. So, yeah, we'd like to pool some resources and get a discussion going and hopefully be able to market it something and get some more sponsorship.
Yeah. Well, John, I like that idea that you're putting out there, like to have at Eastern Canadian Nationals, and even think about, well, Nationals is out in Clearwater this year, but let's say that was a Western Canadian, and then have a Nationals event where everybody's welcome, but then take the West and the East and actually give them maybe a one-day event where they compete against each other to see who is the best that year. Because you know how Canada likes to, we do that on our own anyway, so why not do it in disc golf as well?
Yeah, you could do your East-West shootouts type of thing, and it definitely just need to have it's sport, right? So who's the best? You have to have that event and whatnot. And I mean, even as far as Canadian National goes, one of the next periods of evolution is just can't be an open event, right? It's got to or at least aspire to try to get the best players from everywhere in the region attending, even though they maybe they can't, but I have tons of ideas and registrations and options and things like that, because that's very similar. You get talking to me enough about this stuff, and motors come up and stuff like that. But basically, in motocross or most sports, they divvy up the amount of entrants on the per capita member base. So so you'll have a national event that may accept 50 MPOs, let's say example. Well, that 50 will be then carved out based on per capita regions in the country, and then all those players that qualify or meet whatever standard to get invited, if they don't come, then those positions open up to a wait list type of event to get people in. And I find that gets the people that should be there without having to worry about a registration, open registration, and then the people that really want to be there, allows them to get on a list or a way to get in if they don't get qualified or invited. So but we'll get there. I guess it's all growing, and if it's all being volunteer organized and stuff, it's a real challenge, right? Respect everybody's time there. Nobody's going to get it perfect, but there's things are happening, which is great to see.
Well, and I'm thinking, this is our 5th A-tier show. So we've talked to Craig Sheether, Kerry Neal, Ryan Norquay, Daryl Banks, and now yourself. Like, the amount of experience just in those 5 alone, let alone the next 6 we're going to talk to, what you guys could put together. So we're going to have to find a way to get all of you guys in a Teams episode. Daryl, we're doing an 8-tier TDs episode. It might not be broadcast live, but we're doing one and getting them all in the same conversation.
Yeah, that's exactly. Like, I mean, I think it was an email that went out after my suggestion, but we really just have to book a Teams meeting and get everybody online, share, and see if there's anything we can do. Even predominantly the scheduling seems to work in everybody's favor. There's no A-tiers on the same weekends and whatnot. It's just I guess somebody to take the charge and try to lace these things together in some sort of standard process or whatever. You want something to accumulate to be rewarding somebody for overall and whatnot, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Well, if we can get back to the Eastern Canadian AMs, when we were looking, Daryl and I, the most rounds we've played in a tournament so far has been 3, but this one had 5 rounds. Was it 5 rounds in 3 days? Is that how it went down?
Yes, and yeah. So we you know we've meddled with the formula a little bit. We've had in the past 2-dayer with 36 holes each day, and then we branched it out to be a 3-day A-tier, and we did some 36s and 27s and some blends, and then just kind of based on some feedback and players wanting to get out of here on Sunday at a little bit more respectable time. So we kind of went with 2 36-hole days and just an 18-hole day. So yeah, at one point it was like 99 holes of golf, and we were seeing a lot of people not able to make that hat through. So we dropped it down to 3 rounds for some of the amateur and age divisions and stuff like that. Tried to find a balance out there. So yeah, it's a bit of a grind, and when you have that many holes of disc golf going, it's great to see these battles and score changes and what happens from day to day and comebacks and whatnot. It's always been super exciting, and you see a lot of divisions won on that final round of that final day, which is it's pretty amazing by via comeback. Last year more, we had a lot of comebacks, winners in their divisions, and it was great to see.
Nice. Well, and it looked like for us, obviously, without having any video or live coverage, because we're not quite there in Canada yet, what we have is we have PDGA to go by. And what we try to do is draw on some things. So I've drawn on a couple things Daryl and I will go through, and maybe you can give us some feedback. So what we saw was that Mike Ishenko hit an ace, round 1, hole 15 at Axiom. So did you hear about that one? What can you tell us about hole 15 and how that would have went down?
Well, yeah, that would be a great ace. It's an uphill shot. It's a hole that I curse it a bit because it just is outside of my distance for, the blues or the golds, let alone that. So I always admire people that can get that little extra crank up there. And yeah, like anytime an ace hit, you run to see if he was in the ace pot, and unfortunately he wasn't.
Oh no!
So yeah, we did have another ace hit though later on.
Yeah, I think I got that one here too.
Yeah.
I got round 4, hole 6 at Axiom, and that was Zachary Brassard who hit that one.
Yeah, that would have been a sweep from the golds. I mean, I've aced that hole myself from the blues, but it's just a little par 3, but a tight window to get out, and low out. You're shooting out of the woods in and over a patch of sumac trees just to a basket. So it's all touch and a little luck, but yeah, that one's been hit. It gets hit a lot, but
okay,
it's a nice hole.
And was Zachary lucky enough to have paid into the ace?
Oh yeah. I think he had the $400 or $3 something there. Yeah, he was in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was our only 2 aces. Usually only 5 or 6 or something will happen on the weekend. So just a little not an ace weekend, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Daryl, what was that other thing we were looking at too?
Yeah. In round 3, we noticed that Charles Blanchette had an amazing streak. He went birdie, eagle, birdie.
Yeah,
that was holes 3 to 6 at MVP.
Yeah, and that's a pretty big accomplishment. Well, the MVP course starts, and it's not lefty friendly. It's the first 2 or 3 holes are righty friendly. Then and Charles is a right-handed thrower, but then you get to this hole 4, and there's kind of and I didn't get to see how Charles played it. I'm going to assume he went big hyzer bomb, and got himself up to the green. And those are be two pretty good big shots. I know a lot of the MPO players play it that way. They have the arms to get up and over some of these trees and barriers that most of us are playing under and around. And hole 5 is other. It's an equal hole. It's probably one of the easier par 5s on the course, but it involves a good tee shot around some obstacles. We have a big old pine tree back there that kind of it's a signature hole here, hole 5. Then a long fairway down to and basket on a mound, maybe 5, 6, 8, 7 feet high mound with water long and left. So it just takes two good drives and then a putt, obviously, but missing there, if you're too far out in that hole, you tend to want to lay up with that hill because you can pitch up and over it a lot of times and damage your score just by putting. But,
right.
Yeah, most of our holes are scoreable, especially for good MPO players. That's why you'll see, Martin or Cam or any of these guys going out with just birdies, and scoring so low. But it's you don't see it very often.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, sorry, go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, all yours, buddy.
No, I was just going to say, with, like you mentioned, what it takes to put together a big tournament like this, like you said that your time is valuable and things like that. You obviously had a lot of volunteers helping you and a lot of a good team helping you out as well. Is there anybody you wanted to shout out there?
Oh yeah, for sure, and it wouldn't happen without the volunteers, and again, just to kind of, we're offering camping to everybody here for 4 days. We have a full functioning canteen on site.
Wow.
With breakfast. It's bagels and egg McMuffins type of stuff, and coffee, and then lunches, and then we allow the players to pre-order dinners at night. So there's my wife and neighbors and people in the neighborhood helping out with that. It's fantastic. And then kind of when it comes to the running of the event, Jovan, Dagenet, and Dave Gervais, great help. We'd like to have more on the team always, but it's just when you need that Friday off or that Thursday and Friday, it turns into a big 4-day commitment for people. It gets to be a little harder. We've done enough of them, now that once you have a good handle of the tournament manager and TD Central and all those kind of things, you have to react quickly and get rounds turned around and tee times out, because we were reshuffling every time. So once you have a good handle of that, and then running out, putting water on the course, and remembering to do that, checking all the porta potties and whatnot. But it happens. But I couldn't do it without that team. Even if it's good point to mention PDGA Canada. They've been great supporters here, and they listen and react to things that we want. We're trying to do as much as we can for our volunteers, so they're not going out of pocket to come to town for so long, be it for gas and whatnot. You really, hard to find people that know the system. Like these guys that come in, they know my whole store, so they just log in and they're running my shop. So because Jovan has the same sort of similar thing going on. So you can't ask for any better help than that, because it gets quite busy with merch outs and results, and I think we had 13 divisions going on this time. Wow. So but great crew, great team. Couldn't ask for any better.
Yeah. when you were mentioning about the neighbors and your wife, and I was expecting you to be grabbing kids off the street and putting a flag in their hand at some point.
Yeah, I wish, like, we're so rural out here. I don't have the. I actually have I have a helper in the neighborhood, young lad that's coming around and getting into disc golf and working here and that. But he broke his hand mountain biking like
Oh,
2 days,
Oh
a
no.
Saturday before the event. When I was like, "This is the week we got to get everything done," and he's in a cast. But
oh no.
yeah, so yeah, we get by. It's just in the lead up to an event. It's the players are anxious for information and you're still trying to sort it out, and everybody knows there's all these kind of last minute withdrawals that always happen, so you're a little hesitant to publish tee times and
Yeah.
stuff, and but they were also scrambling to try to mow 2 courses and get everything in there in the OB, so it's a real scramble, and then we're starting to welcome campers and guests, and and
Yeah.
everything like that, so it gets to be a bit intense, but yeah, you do what we can do. And my focus is always on the golf. So as long as the course is great, we want that first. Then we'll deal with whatever else as it comes up. Fortunately, this year's been a very wet year for us here. It's
Mhm.
they did get some rain. You see some posts about it. It was wet, nothing we could do about that. But
Yeah.
we're getting record rainfall this season here, and nothing I've seen in my lifetime.
Really?
So double-edged sword there, because the course is too wet to mow, but it's hot and wet, so the grass is growing twice as bad. And
Right.
instead of cutting grass every week, it's like every 2 days, 3 days. So it's
Wow.
Never getting
yeah.
off the
So
lawnmower.
no, it can be pretty crazy, but and it's been so wet, we just haven't gone on to any of the projects we wanted to do. There's some more water features and things that we're putting in on the dream course, but it's just been too wet to even bring in heavy equipment back there
Right.
to do some of it. But
Yeah.
hopefully this fall, and it never ends. There's always something in the works.
Yeah. Well, John, it's been awesome talking with you about the Canadian Am Nationals, and it seems like it's an event that's just going to keep growing. We've got Sandy and Martin that are going to come on next, and we're sure they're going to sing praises about the course as well. But before we bring them on and before we let you go, do you have any last little things you want to shout out there?
Well, I do want to shout out to the sponsors. PDGA Canada. We just very recently have entered into a marketing program or sponsorship agreement with MVP Sports. So we're super excited about that. And I guess for any players out there, we've developed and have now a par 72 10,000 foot layout
Oh,
that kind of on the 2 courses, and it's called the EEL, the Eddyville Elite layout. So it's kind of something built for some bigger players, and or potentially some bigger players and stuff like that. So we're looking forward to doing some more events with that. We haven't done a sanctioned event. We've only played it once here, but it may factor into next year's format or some rounds. I think
Yeah.
we can put it in a couple hours, make
okay.
the adjustments to the course, and so way more than just like a best of.
Right.
It's kind of what I call a little bit more true golf, in that you don't scramble on these holes. You make the mistake. You're
Punished.
so much scrambling happens on some of the smaller holes that you really don't notice it, but you get on the bigger, longer course like that. I found it impossible to scramble once you made those errors. But yeah, that's something we're just looking forward to debuting, and definitely a shout out to the players. Like, if you want, oxygen, the kind words and the support, and the so thankful, uh, you know, uh, really appreciative. A crowd attended this event, and yeah, we were super pleased with that. Everybody was so respectful of the property, so respectful of all the volunteers, and that really goes a long way, because unfortunately sometimes it's not always like that,
Mhm.
Right.
and it only takes those couple of apples, rotten apples, to spoil the barrel, so to speak. But yeah, we're very happy with everybody, and huge thanks to everybody for taking the time to come out for sure.
Awesome. Well,
And
Jeremy,
thanks to you guys for putting me on the podcast. I really appreciated it.
yeah, that's what we're all about. We're all about bringing names that people are not normally familiar with into Canadian households, and I think we've been doing that with the 8 years that we've highlighted so far. We do. You just mentioned it there. You've obviously got your banner behind you. You touched on your sponsors. We do have a question in the chat because I asked, so I'm just going to bring it up here. Brock wants to know: do you have any tips on getting sponsors?
Yeah. Talk to them. Explain what you're gonna do. I've always sold my sponsorship as it's a course sponsorship, so it's a little bit more than the A tier. So, our baskets are all wrapped with the sponsors on them. We have plastic coroplast signs printed up, banners and things like that, and we have banners all around the shop here from all the past events hanging up. So, I'm able to kind of market a year thing type of thing. Yeah, it's but just talk to people, talk to local people. It doesn't all have to be people in the industry. It doesn't have to be your local anything. Like when disc golf, like we sell so much pizza out of here, in a year from people like to talk to the local pizza place, talk to the local convenience store, and you may not get as much as you'd think, but it adds up after a while, especially if you have the resources and time. Yeah, it's just talk to people, ask. It never hurts to ask, and it might be no the first time, and then and get your players if they're going to places in your community to shop. Get them to mention disc golf when they're in there, and then when you walk in there, they're gonna know, oh, disc golf. So
yeah, conversations is where it's at.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Well, awesome, John. That's been great. Thank you so much. And we look forward. We hope to be doing this for quite a while, so we plan on talking to you again next year.
All right. Well, thank you, guys.
Okay.
Perfect.
Have a good one.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Okay, on your screen, you should have a little hang up button.
Looks like a little red phone.
All right.
Sounds like a great event and a great course.
Daryl, yeah, I'm loving these shows. They're just teaching us so much more, and I hope our listeners are enjoying it as well.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to the next guests.
We got them right here, Jeremy. Let's go. Just
our next.
If you are listening in the YouTube, you're coming on in about 2 seconds.
That's right. As I say these words right now, we're probably bringing you on this very second. Our next guests are from St. Thomas, Ontario. They are likely the best sibling disc golfing duo in Canada. In the year of the repeat wins at A tiers, they took down first place in FPO and MPO at the Eastern Canadian Amateur Nationals. Let's welcome Sandi and Martin Hendel to the show. Looks like we've almost got them, Daryl.
They're coming. They're going to get there.
Hey.
Hey, guys. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Looks like
awesome.
It's on this end. Oh.
Yeah, just usually give it a second here just to catch up. We can see if frozen as well, but we can hear you. That's for sure.
Oh, we're starting new.
There we go. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. And of course, the first thing we have to say is congratulations on your wins at the Eastern Canadian Amateur Nationals for the second time in a row.
Wow. Yeah.
For both of us, too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back-to-back winners.
Well, Daryl says this next little thing I'm going to say is starting to get a little long, but I'm going to try to say it fairly quickly. This is the 5th A-tier recap show that we've done so far. And out of all of them, we've had a number of repeat winners. So first we had the Foxwood Open, Chantal Badinsky and Thomas Gilbert, repeat winners. Then we had the Tournament Capital Open, Julie Mowens and Thomas Gilbert again, repeat winners. Then we had the BC Open, Sophia Donica, repeat winner. Then we had the Larger Than Life, which was a brand new tournament, so no repeat winners. And now we have you guys as the repeat winners on the Eastern Canadian Amateur Nationals. How crazy is that to a start to the Canadian A-tier season?
That's fantastic.
It is, really.
Yeah. That's weird.
Did you realize that there's been so many back-to-back winners? Do you follow or do you track any of the other A-tiers?
No.
No, that's just a weird stat. I never really knew that. That's awesome to point that out, though.
Yeah. Well, what we're finding too is that we've been doing a fantasy picks episode where before the A tier, we pick some players. Each of us do. We can't pick the same players, and then we compete against each other to see who gets the most points. I had Sandy, and then Daryl had Martin. But I think what we're gonna have to do, Daryl, is pretty easy for us to pick for the next event. Just look at the last year's winners, and that should be a good start. So
That's it. Yeah, you're gonna have the winners right there.
Yeah. Well, and Daryl, you noticed another kind of interesting stat about Sandy and Martin's wins this year too, right?
Yeah, when I was looking at we're looking at who won last year, I know obviously noticed that you both won, but I did notice, and I don't know whether you both know this, you both beat your strokes from last year by 1 stroke. So you're both 1 stroke better this year than you did last year.
I knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try not to look at the ratings or the score. So.
Right.
Even after the event's over, you just take the win and don't worry about it?
I know I'm a little different than Martin. So I kind of know what the ratings are there, and on the MVP Dream, it's tough to score in the gold. So even though I feel like I've done well, I just know the ratings are going to show that when you have people coming in with like double digits.
Yeah,
it hurts a tiny bit, but it's still nice to come out with the win.
Are you checking your score throughout the round? Are you a person that's kind of? I mean, obviously you were playing with Alicia and Jane on this event, but in any other events, any leagues or anything like that, are you a score checker, or you just play your game and then whatever the score is, that's what it'll be?
That's right. I do paper scorecards, so I don't see anything.
Oh,
there you go.
You know, that's a good way, because Daryl doesn't like to check his scores either, but sometimes you might accidentally see it now that we're all keeping score. But I think you're right. If you put it on the paper card, there's no way you're going to accidentally see a minus or a plus somewhere.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah.
So now, never had an issue.
That's good. Well, the other thing I was wondering too is with a tournament like this one for you guys, because I know you're both located down in St. Thomas. Martin and I talked about that, and Daryl when we had him on last time. Bourget looks like it's a 6.5 hour drive. Is that what you guys did? Drive up there, or do you fly to Ottawa, or how do you go to get to a tournament that far?
Oh no, we drive. I have a rule: if it's under 15 hours, we drive, and if it's over 15, we fly.
Oh wow. So then in those types of tournaments, if you got one of those ones that's under 15 hours, do you guys both try to register and say, okay, we got to help each other out because there's no way I'm driving to this thing alone?
Oh, we pretty much end up at the same tournaments all the time, so never have to worry about that.
She does most of the driving.
Oh, okay.
Is it as a driver, do you get to pick the music? That's the rule, right?
Oh, that's Martin's the DJ.
Oh,
okay. And hopefully he's got that figured out and at least incorporates some of his sister's tastes in there at the same time as you guys are going.
Oh,
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. As long as there's no country, we're good.
And luckily, you're talking to 2 people in Western Canada who also don't listen to much country. Hey, Daryl?
Oh.
That's good.
So, hey, what we also wanted to do, Sandy and Martin, and we want to start with you, Sandy, is we want to kind of go through, and we've got a lot of stats and stuff here about your rounds, because one of the things for us is that we don't have video coverage. We can't watch the live coverage like you can with DGN. So what we do is we use PDGA to get a little information about your rounds, and then maybe pick a couple spots for you guys to tell us about some things that we think would be interesting. So if I can start, I've got your round 1 was out at Axiom. You shot an even round with 3 birdies, 3 bogeys, and that gave you a 7-point lead. So you not watching scores, this may all be new for you too. So I'll give you this kind of breakdown as we go. So it looked like a nice, good start to the tournament. And then when you got to round 2 at MVP, you shot a +7, which had 2 birdies, 5 bogeys, and a couple doubles, but it still gave you a 9-point lead, increased your lead. What I wanted to ask you was, with MVP, did you find this to be a bit more of a difficult course than Axiom?
Yes. I find that the golds on the dunes, very scoreable for FPO, MPO. MPO can score very well on the dream course. FPO, if you're coming in with an even, that's fantastic. So a few up, a few. I don't think FPO is going to get a few down on that course. I think we need a play from a different layout, maybe from the blues. I think the whites would be too scoreable, but I think I did talk to John about this, and I think from now on we will have a different layout.
Yeah,
it's really tough for the FPO players, especially when you have somebody coming in with a 17 under.
Right.
Course record 1700 is what we've heard in the chat.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, if you see the course, it's beautiful. It's tough. It's fair. It's got all the shots. The first 3 holes, I can't breathe because it's a very righty friendly, and I'm a lefty, so a lot of OB right to the right.
There is footage if you look up True North coverage.
Oh, okay.
From a few years ago, so you will be able to
previous years.
Yeah.
Yep.
See the layout.
Well, now I'm not going to bed early tonight. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That time.
Yeah.
I think that 17 under is actually filmed as well.
Oh, it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Immortalized forever.
I would say, sorry, Sandy, to interrupt with that, but the one thing we'll have to say is, when we talked to Marty before, it seems like all of your good stuff gets recorded somehow, because you had that epic roller that got recorded at Flying Discs Open too. So, but yeah, continue, Sandy. So you were saying there, it is difficult, but with that other, maybe a change in layout would improve probably the FPO scores, and also maybe give that differentiation for ratings, right? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I came in, I think my best rounds on that course have been maybe an even, a +1, +2, +3. And I come off the course feeling great when I shoot that. And it barely crests the 900. So,
okay.
So I don't, like, I love the courses so much. I'm still going to go play. I'm not a person that really cares about my rating.
Right.
I like a good course, and John has 2 amazing courses, so that's why we keep going back. Yeah,
for sure. And you continued on as you were going through there, scoring. Like, even for a difficult course, you were finding a few spots here and there to score, right? Round 3, +3, 3 birdies, 4 bogeys, 1 double. Round 4, +9, you had 2 birdies in there again. And then round 5, you went and you had the +3 with another birdie. And by the time you got to the end there, Alicia had a little bit of a fight in there to kind of keep it. I think the closest in the end there, she was 10 points away. But then you finished it off with that 11-point lead. So I guess, and this is kind of a long rambling here with this, Sandy, but where I wanted to get to was, over the weekend, Daryl and I played a tournament, and we played a 3-round tournament. I had a great first round. Then my second round, not so good. Third round, not so good. So it was kind of up and down. It was a little bit better. And I see with you, your best round was your first round, and there was a little up and down just like that. Do you have any strategies to keep your head in the game in those situations? Because I found it I had a bit of a struggle after playing so well on day 1 and not doing it again, trying to stay positive. Do you have any tips on that?
I do not have any tips. I do like the more golf, the better. So but it comes down to weather. It comes down to how you slept the night before, just, but I do like all the golf, and I do not have any strategies. I just go out and try to shoot what I can. Like, I have a number in my head, if it's an even. I have come in with a -9 on the Dunes course.
Nice.
So, that was just an amazing putting. I was hitting the islands, but I don't think I could reach that again, but I'm always happy to come in around even. So I have a number in my head for each course, and I just try to keep very close to that number. And,
I guess I'll rephrase the question.
happen.
I'll rephrase the question a bit there, because Jeremy rambled a little bit. When you have that number in your head of okay, this course I think I can shoot a +3, and then you come in off the course and you see that you've shot +7, +8, whatever it might be, does that alter your mentality then, thinking that, oh, okay, I didn't hit my goal? Or do you not worry about the fact that you were 6 shots worse than what your intended target was?
Oh, well, there's a different story for every round. So maybe the wind picked up, maybe it was raining, maybe the mosquitoes were driving you crazy. So I don't get upset. I usually look at why things happen, and maybe I hit an extra couple OBs, maybe I wasn't hitting my putts, but no, it doesn't bother me. I really just go out there and try to stay as close to the number that I have in my head, but I do understand if there's other factors like weather, or mud or slippery tee pads.
Yes.
That's fair. Yeah. I think we just need to let it go, Jeremy. We just need to realize and understand and realize that it happened for a reason, and it's not the fact that we played bad. It was the conditions.
Well, I think I put it in one of our messages back and forth today, Sandy, to Daryl. I said, you know what? My problem right now is I'm consistently inconsistent, and I need to change that part to be a little bit better. So, but no, that's good. One of the things we like to do too when we have players on after these recap shows is we reach out to your card mates. So we had a chance to reach out to Alicia and talk to her and chat with her a little bit. And all she could say, Sandy, was positive things about you. She said, you're the best. You're her favorite person to play with. She said she had tons of fun and loved playing with you and talking disc golf with you. She did say something, though. She mentioned that maybe you have a little penchant for liking things on social media that kind of came into play on the weekend.
Oh, yeah. I just got a cell phone 6 months ago. I know. It's my first cell phone, and I scroll through Facebook and I accidentally like a lot of things now. So if your grandmother died and I liked it, I'm sorry.
Oh, I remember that. I've been there as well. You do some of those things where you quickly just like it and then you look at what you're liking, but yeah.
Well, so Martin told me, and he's like, oh, you like this? And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Liking as you
so I'm liking and scrolling at the same time.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So apparently that what it was. The highlight of the weekend was no matter what happened, it was a like on the scorecard, I guess.
Generous. Very generous. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you, Alicia.
Well, and then another thing too we wanted to talk about, which is a little bit separate from the tournament itself, was we noticed you had a pretty big moment back in 22, one of your many big moments. Let's just put that out there. But back in 2022, you made it to lead card final round at the Masters Worlds in Peoria with Jennifer Allen, Owen Scoggins, and Natalie Holocoy. Can you tell us a bit about that experience?
Oh, that was fantastic. I was putting well, I was playing well, and I was in the right spot mentally.
Which course was it?
Oh my God, I can't think of all the names, Martin. Well, there was. Oh, sorry, I can't think of the names.
No, that's okay. Yeah, that's all right. But
it's fantastic. I mean, Owen and Jennifer are amazing. I love all the international players I get to play with.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was Flagstaff.
Okay.
Oh, you just got it?
Little
Was it
America.
Little America? Oh,
Oh, there's 2 courses.
sorry.
It's
I'll
hard to
tell
keep
you.
track of all the courses.
That's
Yeah.
okay. Daryl's our researcher, so we just
got
keep
it.
talking and he'll get it for us. So
It
that's
was
no
Bradley
problem.
Park, Kennel Lake, Lake Eureka, Eureka Temp, Maxwell Park, McNaughton Park, Northwood Black, Northwood Blue, Sunset Hill, and Wild Prairie.
Those are all the
Is-
ones they
Okay.
must have used that
Yeah.
week. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Which-
I played okay there. I played so much better in 2023.
Okay.
In Flagstaff at the Master Worlds. And then, yeah, I think Martin had the highlight in Peoria. He was
In 2022.
2022. Yeah, that was, I wasn't playing so well, but I got to watch Martin almost bring home a world championship title. So yes, one stroke.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Northwood
Well,
Blue.
And with that too, when we're talking about Sandy, is as you mentioned with Owen and with Jen Allen, we've had chances to kind of just chat a little bit back and forth with Jen, and we see all the coverage, and you see them on, and they look like they got to be two of the nicest players to play with, and definitely on. If you're making up dream cards, I would put them on there. So you're already living our dream by playing with them.
Oh yeah, yeah. I look forward to seeing Jen every time there's an event, and I know that. We're getting back to the States, and if I see her or Owen, it just,
Yeah,
very happy.
That's awesome.
Very happy to play with them. Very positive, amazing players. I mean, Owen and her putting, Jen and her distance. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and even too, we had spoken with Rebecca Dawn not too long ago, and she had her first chance to really spend some time with Jen Allen, and she helped her as she was getting a bit of heat stroke down at the event for her Worlds, and she pretty much said that Jen's now her Innova mom down there. So because they share the same sponsor, right? So
well, Jen, I had heat exhaustion down at the Masters this year. I think it was the third round, and yeah, Jen was there for me too. It was I think pushing like 45 degrees Celsius, and yeah, that was my first experience with anything like that. It was pretty scary, but Jen was there for me, and I was pretty sick for a few days, and she was dropping off some electrolytes at the hotel for me, and pickle juice, just anything to bring me back to life.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm wondering, Daryl, now is I'm guessing that maybe Jen Allen's experienced this enough with all of her Canadian friends that she just makes some Canadian rehydration packs for everybody.
Exactly.
Where are you from? Did I just hear you say A? Here's your pack.
Drink this now.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome.
Yeah, she's always helping out me or Martin when we're down in the US. Like if I need a ride because Martin's playing at a different park, she's the first one to message me asking me if I need a ride. So yeah, a huge shout out to Jen Allen if you're watching.
Definitely.
That's awesome.
Well, we don't want to leave Martin. We don't want to leave you just sitting there to the side. So we want to give you some focus here too. But before we do that, we did have a question in the chat that we'll ask both of you maybe at this point.
Okay. I was going to bring it up at the end there, but we can say it right now. Mario has been in the chat all night. He wants to know what were your most used discs that you used this round or this tournament?
Okay, Mario, I used your D1 Air. I haven't put my name.
That was a bit of a loaded question, was it?
It still has Mario's name on it, and
its nickname is Lemonade.
Lemonade.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, she flies far, and I want to thank Mario for giving me that disc. How about you, Martin?
Awesome.
You know what? I think it would probably be my P2 putter. I think I use that for upshots, for short holes. It's my dependable, stable, straight shooter type of disc. But I don't know exactly what I use the most. It's
your Thunderbird.
Thunderbird. I use my Thunderbird a few times.
Yeah.
And it doesn't say Mario on the back of it, does it?
Yeah. No, it's yeah, that's a hard question actually, because there's so many discs that I use, right? It's hard to do the calculations in my head.
For sure.
I have a feeling it was a bit of a loaded question.
Yeah, I think it was mainly to get that from Sandy.
Something that I have to use on every hole is a putter, so that'd be the.
Oh, that's a good answer. That's a good answer.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Martin, I do have your breakdown a little bit here too. So let me throw some of that at you. You really get to listen for a bit and then I'll randomly sprinkle in a question. I think that's how it goes, doesn't it, Daryl, with this part?
I think there's a question in there somewhere.
Usually it's buried in there. But yeah, so for round one at Axiom, you started out with a -6, 9 birdies, 1 bogey, 1 double. And you were actually, that was the one point where you weren't quite in the lead yet. You were 1 point off the lead with Calvin Rorda. You gave him, I think you're just being kind. You gave somebody a chance just to hold the lead for a moment. So that was your round one. Then you hit round two. You do a -12, 1 eagle, 11 birdies, and 1 bogey for a 1033 rated round. And it, not only that, it started off 9 down after 8 holes. Like, how amazing was that? How are you feeling at that point? You had to, even if you're not watching scores, you had to know it was going well at that point.
I knew it was going well. Cam was right there with me, so I think it was 8 for 8. I can't remember exactly. I just focus on each hole individually, but no, I knew things were going really well at that point, and it's unfortunate back 9, but I don't want to complain when you have a front line like that, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
And like what John said, it gets more wooded in the back 9. More things can happen. I already have a game plan for each hole, so I just try to execute. And so it's an interesting course because there's a few spots where I just lay up 118 feet and then go for a 350-foot tunnel shot.
Oh.
On 18, I literally putt 40 feet into a position and then shoot to the hole. But unfortunately, on 18, on both times I played that, I usually get a birdie on that. I was getting a par.
Right.
It's good to have a game plan and stick to it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and that's interesting. Daryl and I have talked about that a couple times with certain holes where, you can play them maybe backwards from what you would normally think of having a big drive at the start and then a short layup. You still have to do both shots. And if you're confident in them, some holes may be more conducive to the short shot first than the long shot second.
Yeah. There's a nice par 4 that goes over top of a little body of water, and then another one shortly after. And all 3 guys, they played, because I was the guy that had to spot at that point because I was last to go. But I watched them go over the area and get into their positions, and I did my little layup. Then I threw close to 375, and then I made a 40-foot jump putt to get my birdie, and they didn't even get a birdie.
Oh.
So they were saying, oh, well, maybe we should have laid up.
You're like, they know why you took the bottom of the box now, not to give away your strategy, right?
It worked in my favor there.
But,
that's the thing with strategies and game plans, Jeremy, is that you can have the game plan, but you have to execute the game plan. If we don't execute the game plan, then there's no point in having a game plan, and we just have to adapt on the fly. But when you've got Martin's accuracy, then you can do it and actually execute it.
And I like my discs. I don't want to lose them in the water. If I lay up, I'm guaranteed not losing a disc. I'm getting a birdie or 4.
And your disc.
As long as I execute that long shot fairly good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and if we hit round 3, then you go out and you do a -11. This time, 13 birdies, 1 double. You're at -29, and you're right. Cam is right there with you. He's tied, and now you're at 9 birdies in a row. And then, so what do you figure it is about that MVP course? I think you kind of said it. I had it as that was my question, but I'm guessing here from what you're saying is the woods are at the back, so that front 9 is just kind of set up to score, and like John was talking about as well.
Yeah, you want to rack up your score, and then you can, it gives you that something to carry through the next 9 holes. I mean, the next 9 holes can be scoreable, but they could also go wrong for you. You might be able to lose, but the more open holes are obviously more scoreable, or should be scoreable, as long as you're somewhat accurate.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we hit round 4 back at Axiom, a -11, 11 birdies. And now at this point, you've got the 6-point lead over Cam because he just wasn't keeping up as well there. And then we get to round 5. It's a -5 with 1 eagle, 6 birdies. And now this one here, as we kind of looked at it, it almost looks like it got a little interesting towards the end. And maybe you can tell us about that. It looked like Cam was starting to try to birdie out and catch up.
Yeah, I held strong up until we'll say 15. I think he got 1, then he got 2 on 16, he got 1 on 17, and I think he went for the. I was thinking about this today. I think he went for the eagle on 18 and went out of bounds long. But I didn't hear that he went out of bounds, so I knew since he didn't hit that shot, I knew all I had to do was lay up to the pin, and even if he birdied, he wouldn't beat me. So, but yeah, nerves started to kick up a little bit. Started to give up strokes. I was upset with myself on 16 because all I had to do was stay in bounds, and I could forfeit a stroke instead of. And then he made a 60-foot putt. He threw too far away from the out of bounds and the basket, but he makes a 60-foot putt, and he's taken 2 from me. So now I'm down to 3 strokes going into 17.
Right.
And we both hit the island, and the nerves just made me get a little shaky. I missed the putt, but I'm still have 2 strokes, so I'm still feeling pretty confident. I throw a great shot, great drive. It actually allows me to go for the birdie, but I'm telling myself don't do it because there's a lot of obstruction. You go out of bounds, you could potentially lose this. So I knew just to play smart, lay up, and I should have a walk away win. He had a chance, but these willows are laying so low that it makes it difficult if you land in the around the willow tree. It doesn't allow you to go for the birdie too well. He was in the middle of it, but he punched out, and he got to the island, and I wasn't sure if he was in or out, but it didn't matter as long as I just parred. I was walking away with 1 stroke lead. So even if he did birdie, but then I found out he went out of bounds, and it was just a little more sweat off or less. It was like thank goodness.
Yeah.
We actually spoke to. Sorry.
I wasn't able to play the game I'd like to play. I did that up until about 15, and then I started to get really defensive, and then that's when he was attacking, and I was, shedding some of my strokes.
Yeah.
Right. I was just going to say we had Cam on a few episodes ago, and we spoke to him about playing with you or playing against you through. You guys have had quite a few good battles. Are you able to look at him and do you know his game? Like his strategy, you know what shots he's going to go for, or are you dead set on just playing your own strategy at that point?
Well, I always have my game plans and dead set, kind of strategies, but I know he's a very smooth sidearm player, so he can attack holes that I'm also a good Anheuser player. So, but in the wind, it leans towards a sidearm player. It's just the natural flight of the disc, but there's still the challenges of landing in bounds if there's an island. I'm going back and thinking of Christie Lake when I had a vital hole that was that I planted with a nice Anheuser with the putter, and it's. I mean, we all have our strengths, and we just kind of play to our game plan, and do the best.
And you'll have some good stories to tell at the end.
Well,
yeah, exactly, and experience as well.
Yeah. And do you prefer that? Like, I think everybody likes maybe the big lead, the walk away win, but as for a tournament and the competitive side of the two of you, do you guys enjoy it more when there is that close battle at the end, or do you not want that stress at all and just want to have the runaway lead? And whoever wants to answer first.
You don't want the runaway lead, but
I
it makes it more exciting.
And I personally love to chase. I don't mind being back a couple strokes.
Oh,
I love that chase. But of course, I like a big lead. But I always feel like I'm gonna lose a few strokes. But when I'm chasing, I feel like I do better.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. So I like it both ways, I guess.
I think, you want a little bit of that adrenaline. It can work really well for you sometimes, or against you.
Yeah.
Depending on how you manage it.
Well, I'm thinking maybe it probably depends on the event. So if you said local C tier, yeah, I'm good to chase. I'll chase this event. That's great. But if we're talking like Worlds, I want that like 7-point, 10-point lead or something like that. So, Daryl, you know what? This is probably a good spot while we've got to ask that next question that we have to
Yeah.
Martin and Sandy.
Yep. Colleen in the chat here wants to know. Oh, Colleen McInnes. Hi, Colleen. How are you? I thought it was, but I just wanted to make sure. What's your favorite hole? And is there a hole you'd love to change in either course?
Oh, wow. Hi, Colleen.
Yeah.
Good question. Got to think about this one. How about you, Martin?
Yeah, I have a hole for each or an answer for those questions. 17 on the Axiom Dunes
Okay.
is something I love throwing that white putter I was talking about earlier, the white P2 Innovamade star disc. I just love that shot because it's very easy for me to do, and I can line up a shot and I throw it at a certain power. I can throw it at a majority of different heights, and it still gets me an easy chance for a birdie. But
Yeah.
the hole that I'd like to change is on the MVP course. Give me one
Hole
second.
14. Hole 14 we'd like to change.
14.
Okay. Tell us about that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
14, there's no true line at it. I look at backhand sidearms, and sidearms seem to work like a more of a higher shot that comes in over top. I don't have that type of shot, but it's even difficult for sidearm players. And I had to throw a beeline shot, which I actually did and nearly aced it, but I went 35 deep, missed the putt. And it's a very unusual hole. You'd have to see it on video. It'd be out there on maybe some True North footage.
Yeah, we'll check that out.
That's the change hole. My favorite holes are all the island shots. I seem to thrive on the islands for some reason. I think I only went OB on one of them. So
wow.
Yeah. So all the island holes, I'm a huge fan.
And is it the same reason for you on 14 is why you want to change it?
No, 14 on the Dream course, the former Prodigy course.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a line for anybody. It's just not a good hole.
Yeah.
But it has potential. It has potential. I just think maybe a couple trees need to come down. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it.
Yeah. It's just not your favorite hole.
Not my favorite hole.
And when you have a course with yeah, and when you have a course with 36 holes on it, to have 36 amazing holes that everybody's happy with, I don't know if that would be good. You got to have a couple. Daryl and I always say a couple nemesis holes out there, right, Daryl?
Yeah, well, that's what we would say. But Colleen in the chat, she told us last time, it's not your nemesis hole. It's just a hole that you didn't score well on last time.
Yeah.
Next time it'll be a different hole for you. You'll have a different outcome.
That's a good point. And I'd like to see what John Pytle can do with combining the two courses to make a super course.
Oh, that's exciting.
I think that would be pretty interesting to see what comes out of that.
Yeah. Well, he like if you watching earlier, he did kind of tease it. He did say that maybe it's a work in progress, and maybe see if we can get it a couple hours change around to actually get it set up in between rounds. So you never know. You might be seeing it next year.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope so. Like we had to leave. We had the Flats Classic, which is a beautiful B tier here in St. Thomas, just to I don't know. Every year there's always, you have to pick and choose, and there's so many tournaments that come up. They're like the Brett Hambrick, Flats, Eddyville. We're all the same weekend, and we had to choose one. But John's got the courses that make us want to travel there, and not play our home course or go back to Brett Hambrick. So that's 2 courses off our travel schedule this year.
Right.
I just noticed that we had another question in the chat here, Jeremy. Tim wants to know who has the better roller. Obviously, we know what Martin can do. It's immortalized on video, but that was just one. That was one roller we've seen. Martin. Sandy's giving you the nod, I reckon.
When it comes to rolling, this is the expert over here.
I've been trying to teach her. She doesn't.
Yeah, I roll with my dog. That's it. I don't bring that into the competition part. But I've been practicing every day. I go throw my disc and roll it and let the dog chase it, but I don't have the confidence to bring that out in a tournament.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's exactly that. Practice, try it, see if you can get it to work. And certain discs work better, or maybe for a starter. But really, anything can roll.
Anything round can roll.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, that's it. You know what I found, Sandy, is that I do have one roller in me. It's a forehand and it's with a Berg because that's pretty much a tire and you can just roll it down the road.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
actually using a roller. Sorry, I was going to say I did actually use a roller this weekend at a tournament that we just participated in as well. But I used the Rolo disc, so I mean that's what it's built for, right? So
the Rolo.
yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I wish I picked disc golf up when I was young. Maybe I'd be a a good roller, but I don't see myself. Oh, you never know. I might get in trouble one day and have to throw something out of the woods.
I'll have to get a few Rolos and some Stingrays. And
yeah, now that I have an open bag, I can.
Some roller.
I'll be able to throw one of those.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Sure. Absolutely.
There
That's
you go.
awesome.
And you've got a great teacher as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if we
he's
go
all right.
back just for a sec here, Martin, we also, you didn't get off the hook either. We did reach out to some of your card mates as well. So, so let's see what they had to say. Now, we reached out to Cam, and he did say this. He said, you're a bit of a mastermind with the ability to call your shots before you take them. And he said, so what's this all about? Were you just
Cam, this was on a hole. This is where I was number 9 is the first hole going into the woods on the MVP
Dream.
And it's a beautiful hole. A nice shaped par 4, approximately 400 give or take feet, and it's all wooded. And then as you get out the woods at about 300 feet, there's 300 feet, maybe a little bit less. There's a body of water on the left, just in case you go too far, and then a small thin path that leads up to the basket. The basket is placed right on the corner of the water, with woods on the right and woods deep. And I threw my shot decent enough to get to close to the landing zone, but it was off to the right. I had to putt into position, and then I cracked the joke and said I'll make it from there. And it was 150 feet to the hole. And then Cam mentioned, didn't you do that before? And I actually think I may have, or maybe it was him actually on a different course. Maybe it was a weird memory that was mixed up. But anyways, I cracked the joke and said I'd make it. I stepped up with the G-Star AVR and threw it. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, I threw that too hard. And then Cam goes, well, that's going in. And then pop, it went right in. Didn't chain out.
Well, that's good. That's good.
It was direct hit. And it was just funny because Cam's like, oh, he called it. This guy calls the shots now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a nice little moment there.
Well, and you know what? He had said that he just, even when he talked about you before, as Daryl was saying, he had high things to say about you. He said, you never count Marty out either. It doesn't matter where he is on the scorecard, because if you're not keeping your eye behind you, he's going to catch up to you before you know it. So, and he just always had nice things to say.
Yeah.
And then
Cam was awesome.
Yeah. And then also we reached out to Julian Quenville, and he said there was nothing specific about the weekend, but he said he's got lots of good stories and good memories of playing and competing with you over the years, and pretty much that you're an awesome person. So I always like reaching out and getting some of that feedback, because sometimes in the throes of it and with everything else going on, who knows how serious the card is, but at least your card mates love you. So
yeah, no, it's always, rounds go so much better when you have good people on the card, and I'm fortunate for the most part to have good people on the card. So
that's a plus.
It's always a plus.
When we spoke to Cam last time, we said, do you like to be on a serious card, or do you like to be on a kind of a jokey, playful card? And he said jokey, playful, all the time. Is that the kind of, is that the vibe that you're encouraging on the card as well? Or do you like it kind of serious?
Well, like serious play, but can also joke at the same time. It's to be able to switch it on and off. And, when things get a little bit tight, obviously it gets quieter, it's hard to joke when someone steals 3 strokes from me or 4 strokes from me. And the jokes
You got to read the card.
yeah, exactly. When all the players are playing well and making moves, it's early. The jokes start flying, and it makes things more enjoyable sometimes. I agree.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say, Sandy, you'd probably agree too with all the likes that you guys had on your cards. So that must be a lot of fun when you guys are playing.
Yeah, when the other cards are saying you guys sound like you're having a great time, that's a good compliment.
Yeah. No, that's good. Good. Now, Martin, another thing that we checked out is we looked at the Canadian Disc Golf Tour that's going on, taking all the A tiers and B tiers, and sometimes it takes the boys at Park Pro a little bit of time to update it, so it hasn't quite been updated yet. But you are sitting fourth with Cam in first, but that's before this tournament's been added. So it's going to be exciting to see, because after these results go in, it could put you into second, maybe even first there, and that'll get you above both Thomas Gilbert and Casey Hannemeyer. Have you been keeping an eye on that, and is that one of your goals this year?
No, I just play. Sandy just drops me off at the course and I play.
It's true. I sign them up, drop them off.
Here's your discs. There's T1. Go.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
So, Sandy, are you planning Martin's Canadian Disc Golf Tour events to help him win the championship, or is that just convenient to?
I had no clue. I'm sorry.
I should pay more attention.
I go when I make the schedule. I go by Martin likes to play courses that he has played before, so
Yes.
I always try to get him to like Ledgestone or just any place that he's played before. Brett Hambrick. So I go by the A tiers, within driving distance, if there's something, an A tier that's 6 hours or less to drive, I'll definitely sign up. So it doesn't matter where if it's
Yes.
in Canada, USA. And then this year I like to get him to 2 to 3 majors a year. And we've been to one, and I have him signed up for, Tim Selensky.
Yes.
So instead of doing the Pro Worlds this year, I'm doing Tim Selensky. It looks like a great event. North Carolina. Martin loves North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And I like the weather there, so that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. And then he'll be playing USDGC. I'm gonna try to get a throw pink.
Yes, a qualifier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think I'm going to qualify for that. So I'll do it. What do you call that when you?
Kind of that Monday play-in. Is that what it is? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So I'll sign up for that, and I know I can shoot well there. I've done a -4 in the rain, so if my head's in the game, I'll be able to qualify. So fingers crossed. It's not a major, but it's an A tier, but it'll be the same time he plays his major.
Oh, great!
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. And one other stat, maybe if you haven't been following them there, Martin, just so you know, and it's been like this for a little while now, is we looked at ratings day to see who the top Canadian highest rated MPO is. And there's only one name at the top right now with a 1014 rating, and that's one Martin Hendel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's an honor.
Yeah. And you're in good
for a bit. Consistent.
I bet, but Kim Scott Wood is still sitting in his backyard.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Haven't seen him. Love watching you guys play together.
Well, I hear he's going to the RIP, is what we heard from Daryl Banks. He's going to be at that Q series as he's registered there. But what I was going to add for you is you have 3 players with 1013 ratings in Canada that are behind you. And that's one Casey Hannemeyer, Thomas Gilbert, and who's my other one there, Daryl? Oh, and Max Rogitnik as well. So talk about being in pretty darn company there when you're the one who's got the highest rating out of those 4.
By 1 point, though. That's a 1/10 of a stroke, basically.
That's it, yeah.
So you just keep calling your shots and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just keep calling shots. That's right. That's it. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish we could go to the RIP, but we're heading out to the Tim Selensky.
Yeah.
So we're gonna hit the American Flying Disc Open, on the
Right.
way down to the Tim Selensky, but Daryl looks like he's going to have a great tournament. At the Rip.
I want to play those new courses. I heard lots of good things. Since I already have the qualifier, that was the main reason to play for me.
Yeah.
Was to qualify for the West UGC. I already have it now, so
We're able to hit the road a little earlier
Yeah.
now.
That's fair.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did we see too, is there one of the events, at least on PDGA when we looked, there's a Discraft CCR open? Is that one you guys
That's
are playing in as well?
Yep.
Next weekend, not this weekend, the following week. We're going to head out on Wednesday, Thursday. We know the course, so we only need a day practice.
And I think we saw something quite interesting. I don't know if it's going to pan out this way, but I saw two names in the field, one in MPO and one in FPO. And this is just what's in there as registered at the moment. But Silver Lat and Kristen Tatar are supposed to be in the field for that event.
really,
Yes.
Yeah. So
we talked about that. That's right after the Worlds. We're not sure, if they're going to be exhausted and want to take a break or just want to play more golf. It's hard to say. You never know how people feel right after a big tournament like that. I know it's hot down in Tennessee, so who knows? Who knows how they're going to feel? Or maybe they have to come up here for the Michigan.
it would have been
circuit.
it would have been nice to play the Worlds this year, but I saw some of the footage. The courses look amazing.
Yeah.
They look pretty tough. And I've only seen the one course so far. The way they played the mixed
New
doubles.
England. Or
the new London. Yeah.
London.
Yeah.
So I saw most of that. The course looks neat. Looks tough.
Yeah. We wish we were there, but
Yeah.
there's other
Okay, cool.
nations.
Well, if you can have Kristen and Silver, if they do come up and play that event with you guys, I think that would be another once in a lifetime experience to go up and to test your mettle against some of those types of players too, right? I know Martin's tested his mettle against everyone. Sandy, you've tested a lot, but to me, those are two big names that I keep an eye on. So
Martin's played with Silver. I've never played with Tatar yet. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll just have to have a quick little chat afterwards just to get that out there. Hey, Daryl, if that happens when Sandy's beaten Kristen at some point on the tournament, right?
Yeah, as long as it's not too hot out and I'm putting well, it can happen.
Exactly. It can
I
happen
would
to
say-
anybody on any given day.
Yeah, I would say write a quick email to Jen Allen now. She'll deliver the electrolyte package. You'll be fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She would too.
It'll have the stamp on it.
Yeah.
Oh, she's
Well-
a fantastic human being. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think
It looks like Colleen's also going to CCR, so she'll see you down
Nice.
there.
Yeah,
Nice to see that.
I haven't signed up yet. I was just checking out the weather radar, and if it's under 35 degrees Celsius, I'll play. If not, I'll caddy for Martin as much as I can. I know that course can get hot, so
Yeah.
I'm kind of watching what I play right now.
She's doing better.
I'm doing- yeah, yeah.
Don't let her fool you.
No,
guys.
I am doing better. I found a lot of things that work, like hydrolyte, salt packs.
Yeah.
So I'm doing so much better. But
It takes
having heat exhaustion does take a
takes
month,
a lot out
month
of
and a
you.
half.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Month and a half to get back from. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some weird symptoms she had. She was unable to regulate her core temperature. She would be cold 1 minute, hot.
Yeah.
But we went for a couple small walks, and she was able to kind of shake that, get some good sleep. But then she was like, it almost seemed like she was hungover the next day.
Yeah.
But she would,
Then
load up on water and electrolytes over the day, and then she seemed to be 70% better than day 2.
Yeah. It just felt
But-
like you had the bad flu for a while.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty scary, but I'm really happy to see that the PDGA has now put up on their web pages about heat illnesses.
Heat
So
warning.
Right.
yeah, heat warnings. I think it's a different time now, and everybody's dealing with different weather that they haven't seen before. And
How's the weather
Yeah.
where you guys are?
yeah,
You know what?
It's a tail
Alberta's
end.
always pretty good. Hey, Daryl. Like we were a little bit humid. We're normally very, very dry out here, but
Okay.
it's been a bit humid, and it's funny because like I said, as I've grown up and lived in Ontario before, so when we were out on the weekend and everyone was complaining about the humidity, I just kind of chuckled a bit because you guys would come out here and go, "This is actually really beautiful. I could be out here all day."
I hope we should make a trip.
We maybe next year we'll put that on our schedule. Alberta and British Columbia.
Around your guys' neck of the woods.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what we noticed with the Canadian Disc Golf Tour, is that we have these these events. It's East Coast, it's West Coast. It's so hard to get the transition from if any of the East Coast players to come out to the West and vice versa, right? So at least if it's once every couple of years, once every little while, that we can try and see different players from different sides of the country. It'll do everybody good.
Yeah. And what we'd suggest for you guys too is definitely talk to Colleen, because I know she came out and played BC Open. And we are playing an event coming up, which is probably one of the biggest A tiers out west, or at least the fastest selling out ones, and that's Falcon's Flight. And I'm sure, as pro players, it might be a little easier for you guys to get in, but Daryl and I were on the button as soon as registration opened, and within 60 seconds our division was full. It was that fast.
Yeah, I've heard the stories of hitting the buttons at a certain time.
Yeah.
Yep. You have everything preloaded.
Yeah.
Oh,
we're actually sponsoring a hole there, so that's how I got in. I got in under sponsor exemption.
Okay.
So we got guaranteed one of us in, and then, like you said, Jeremy was there right on the button to get in as well.
Yeah. Well, and if you
I
do,
usually sign Martin up MPO because he usually gets in, and then that's a tough race, and then FPO usually has a lot of spots. So
we should sponsor a hole.
Yeah.
there you go. Sponsor a hole. That'll get you in. Guaranteed entry. Good stuff.
Well, it's good to hear that you're feeling better and you're on the road to recovery.
Oh, thank you. I was worried that I was going to have to take the summers off from competing and only do it in the spring and the fall. So I was kind of sad there for a little bit, but now that I'm getting better, I heard that when you have heat exhaustion, you don't get better, but I feel like I am getting stronger. So I can't wait to get out there and play in some, 32-degree temperatures.
Yeah.
Well, before we let you go here, the two of you, Sandi, you said you were an open bag and right now, and then Marty, we know you're with Innova. Daryl is pretty much, he isn't actually sponsored by Innova, but if you looked at his bag right now, you would think it is. I would think, how many discs do you think in your Zuka are Innova right now, Daryl?
Probably over 20. Yeah.
Oh, and how many are in the bag?
Yeah. The only thing that I don't have that's Innova is I putt with Pixels, and no, that's it. I putt with Pixel. I have one Berg in. I putt with Pixels and I have a Berg. Everything else I have switched over to Innova. And not because I want to get sponsored. I mean, obviously, if Innova's listening, I wouldn't mind, some sort of ambassadorship or something like that. But just, maybe not for yourself, Martin. Obviously, you've been with Innova for quite a while, I should imagine. But as a beginner, I buy lots of different discs. Oh, that disc doesn't fly right for me. It's not the disc. I need to buy a new one. So you buy different molds, different plastics. But the Innova plastic, it just feels so good for me. And the numbers and the flight, everything is about, it just works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's why I held off for Innova. I was offered other sponsorships, and I did represent Daredevil for 1 year.
Right.
And I think they're still around, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What are those discs that you have on the wall, Jeremy? Behind you?
Oh, I've got a number of different ones, but really one that I should pull and show you guys was from this event that we just did.
Jeremy has no alliance to any disc manufacturer.
So, yeah, but we had a gentleman, Wally Ovali, do his 100th tournament that he tournament directed. So this is actually a stamp on here and everything. It's not like a sticker or something like that. So it was a great event. But I've got a great mix, Marty. I've got Innova. I've got a lot of MVP. I've got some Discmania. You name it. I've probably got something because I haven't. I was saying I was consistently inconsistent. So once I get some consistency, I'll probably narrow the bag down.
Yeah, it's it's each his own, right? Yeah.
We
Yeah.
spoke to
Yeah,
we
I
spoke
was
to
happy to
Daryl.
get that.
We spoke to Daryl Banks last episode, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mentioned to him that I was switching over to Innova, and I popped with Pixels, and he recommended the JK Pro Aviar. So
Nice.
that's what I've got ordered. Yes.
Yeah.
I've ordered some new ones.
Martin just gave me a new putter for this weekend. It
And
was
she made a lot of long distance putts with it.
yeah,
It was
the
a,
Nexus.
the Nexus Color Glow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's my new. I just bagged it this weekend.
There you go.
So,
And
yeah,
you're already loving it?
Oh, yeah, I want more.
Out of the bag. Nice putter.
yeah, out of the bag. I know. So I was super happy. It's not on loan. He actually gave it to me.
Yeah, does that ever happen there too? Is just you take a little liberties as brother and sister and just go, I'm just going to borrow this for a while for some field work, or right away is it like, oh no, I know what's missing out of my bag. Where is it, Sandy?
Well, I have two. My main two putters right now are bottom stamped AVRs, but they're not mine. They're on loan. I'm supposed to work them in. But yeah, that's what's working for me right now. So.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah,
So then, before we let you go, is there anything else that you guys would like to shout out, or anything that we missed, or is there any other sponsors that you got going on right now?
Well, I would love to shout out to Backbone Disc Golf. They picked me up when I left Prodigy this year, and
Okay.
they're a great store out of Rochester, New York. They specialize in wooden minis, trophies. Yeah, I can't say enough. I'm stoked that they reached out to me, and I hope people look them up because they have amazing stuff in their store. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's the first I've heard of them. And that's what we love about this show too, is getting to learn about some of these other stores. And sure enough, Daryl will have 3 discs in their cart. And that's usually the way it works.
Well, they have amazing, they're called Black Ops bags, and they have the wood, and even Martin has it in his bag for the powder bags.
Yeah.
But it's kiln wood, it's amazing. And I think they only sell them for $6.99. So
Wow.
I know. Yeah. But yeah, a great company. I met them at the American Flying Disc Open last year. So
Okay.
I can't I think they're only like 3.5 miles from Parma, which is a course that we love to play. So yeah, it just worked out. And a veteran owned and operated company too, and they offer 10% discounts to like the military, police officers, first responders. So
yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
sounds like they're doing all the right things.
I know. Yeah, and I think this is maybe their second or third year. So I'm very proud to represent them.
awesome.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely put a link and tags and all of that in our content there for you as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate
You bet.
that.
Michael Hanford, he's the owner.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. See, look, I telling you, Daryl is a research wizard when it comes to on the fly, I tell you.
Yeah.
Awesome. And how about you, Marty? Anything else you want to shout out to?
Always Innova's always had my back, my family, obviously, and I want to thank all the watchers that are watching this, and thanks for having me on the show. And having my sister this time too.
Yeah.
Well, how did you guys' tournament go? You guys went to, I forget which tournament it was.
Out to Wally's in Athabasca was where our last one was. Yeah, so we're gonna do a deep dive, but I had a great round and then a couple tougher ones. Daryl went the opposite way; he had a couple tougher and then a great round. So combine us together, we would have had a really good tournament, right, Daryl?
Exactly. Yeah, I think my gameplay, the more I play towards the end, whether it's towards the end of the round or towards the end of the tournament, I just get to a point where I'm like, yeah, okay, the tournament's done. I don't have anything to play for now. So I just kind of relax a bit. And then that's when I play my better golf.
Yeah.
And that's how somehow you got to get yourself in that mental state to start.
Yeah.
From hole 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
It's hard to do.
Well,
Perfect.
I'm sure we'll end up having you guys on the show again at some point here. If it's not just to talk, it's going to be because you're winning more things, and we want to hear about that as well. So thank you so much for coming on. Yes, you bet.
Awesome. Perfect. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Okay,
for
thank
having
you.
us.
Thanks.
See ya.
Bye. There we go, Daryl. Another couple
Yeah.
winners for an A tier. And
Do you
Yeah.
know what I'm going to say?
what are you going to say?
At least half of them have been on the show before, and they go out and they win an A tier.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We've been talking about that for a while
Come on
now.
the
Is that
podcast, and you win.
That's right. So whoever wanted to win Worlds, I know they kind of missed their chance here. Maybe we could do a real quick one if somebody needs to, Paul,
Yeah.
if you're listening,
Ricky, Gannon,
Ricky, you need to win this tournament. I think
Calvin.
Ricky really wants to win it. So, reach out to us. We'll do a quick show with you, and that should probably increase your chances of winning on top of the high chances they probably already have. But
Yeah, exactly.
no, I love that. That was great. And it's nice to have two guests on at the same time. That was good. And I hope we did well at splitting up the conversation there for everyone, but would do our best.
Yeah, I think we did. I enjoyed the episode, so that's what it's all about.
And if anybody else enjoyed the episode, we would ask you, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, like our stuff, comment on it, anything you can do like that. It makes a big difference. We've been pushing for a 250 subscriber contest, and we have a number of things to give away.
Mm-hmm.
We've
I
got
noticed. What have we got? What have we got, Jeremy? We've got a little goodie box. We have a Sea Change snapback hat.
yes,
We have a very limited edition, and even
more limited than you thought.
Brock, yeah, very limited. Brock from Edgar asked us why doesn't he have? Because we noticed that he had a Park Pro hat on. He wanted to know, well, he would wear a chain at one if there was one available.
Right.
Brock, as long as you're a subscriber,
You have
you're
a
in
chance.
for a chance to win a limited edition,
One of 5.
one of 5 Chain Out Podcast baseball cap. We have from Redhead Woodworking a YEG wooden mini.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome. We have from BR Disc Golf. We have some BR Disc Golf stickers. We have a BR Disc Golf mini.
Yes.
We have some more stickers. We
Yeah.
have Sea Change koozie for your beer or any cold drink that you might like to have on the course. I threw this in recently, Jeremy.
Ooh,
You
look
have
at
your own
that.
set of birdie beads. We've mentioned them on the podcast before. Shout out to Mike Carey for making those. Stick those
And those
on
are
your
like
bag.
a nice bumblebee yellow and
Yeah.
black there.
Then now we're going up in the value of the prizes here. I mean, the
This
limited
is all
edition
one
Chain Out-
giveaway, everybody
this is
who's
all,
listening.
This is all just for 250 subscribers.
Yes.
A very nice rainbow Cold Garden Cup
KC Rock.
KC Rock.
Yeah.
I actually want
And-
this myself because I just bagged a DX Rock and it flies pretty good for me. So,
And
I
on
wouldn't
top
mind
of
having
that, one
Jeremy.
there, it actually glows in the dark too.
Oh, really?
Yes, it does. But that's not all, is it, Daryl?
What are you gonna do with all this stuff? What
I
are we
don't
gonna
know.
do? Just give it to No, we're gonna give you a dynamic discs practice bag.
Yep.
Look at that.
And Daryl, you know what? This is the point where I have to say something to our listeners.
That's
Get
gotta
us
be
there.
it.
No, that's not it. But
Oh.
wait, there is more. I figured we got 30 more subscribers to go.
Yeah.
We need people to really push it and start getting some subscribers for
Start
us.
spreading the news.
All I'm going to tell you is this. I have a disc coming that will be to me shortly.
Yeah.
That's from a guest on the show.
Okay.
One of my favorite pros in Canada. And not
Okay.
only that, it actually has their signature on it.
You're gonna
So-
put that in a giveaway, Jeremy?
Yeah, exactly. You thought that was going in my bag? I'm not going to say more at this point,
Don't say anymore.
but yes. So help push us to that 250 mark and then wait till you see what we do for 500 after that. So
Tell all your friends. Tell all your disc golf communities, all your associations. We put out good content. I think we do. We put out weekly content. We put out regular content. We get amazing guests on. Why wouldn't you want to subscribe? Don't miss an episode. Subscribe to YouTube. Get us to 250. You can be in the draw to win all that awesome swag.
yes, that's right. Okay, that's our
If you are,
second advertisement of the evening.
that's a shameless plug for ourselves, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I noticed we've had a few new names in the chat. If you are new, what we like to do is we like to test our listeners to make sure that they keep on listening right to the end of the episode.
Mhm.
So it's about this time where we ask the chat for a secret word. Let us know a word that's been mentioned in the episode. Sometimes it can be one of the guests has said something. Maybe we've said something. Maybe it's just a funny word that came up. What we like you to do is give us a word or two. Sometimes we'll put it in a sentence. Leave the comment on this video and put that secret word or phrase in a sentence, and then we know that you've listened all the way to the end of the episode. You didn't just get to the middle, finish listening to the guests, and then disconnect. So
that's right. And you know
start
what,
thinking of a
Daryl?
secret word.
Want to do for secret word, because Redhead Woodworking was kind enough to us to give us a few chain out minis.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's something that's worthy enough for that, or do you think we should hold off on that?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, that if people actually put in the secret word.
Oh.
Do you think that's a good one?
Are you going to pay shipping to send it to somewhere just for sending a mini?
All right, maybe we'll have to scratch that for now.
Yeah.
Just
It's
do
a
the
good
secret
idea.
word because you like us.
I like where you're going. If you're in Edmonton and you put in a secret word, we can give it to you at League Night.
There you
So
go.
Dylan, we'll give it to you.
Exactly.
Dylan, Kristen, or Tim.
Well, Daryl, let's
Anyway, start thinking of secret words.
Yeah.
Moving
Moving
on.
along, Wally's 100. We've mentioned it a number of times tonight. We had a whole episode with Wally last week. It was Daryl the week before.
Yeah.
Let's get into it a bit, man. Let's talk about the tournament.
You already mentioned it. I got to give it a quick shout out.
Mm.
Look at that! Yeah. Look at that disc.
It's so good.
It sparkles. It's got stars. It's got glow. No, it doesn't glow, but it's shimmery.
Yeah. And we looked at it. We thought it was an actual sticker or something.
Yeah, we thought it was like vinyl. We thought it was like a sticker, like you said, like it was some sort of transfer. I spoke to Wally. It's not. It's a stamp.
Yeah.
It is a Buzz, so it's made by Discraft. And I know I've seen a couple of their discs where they have like the Stormtroopers or the lightsaber, the Star Wars Light and Dark editions that they've got. But to be able to get that stamp, all those different colors, all the rainbow, the glitter, it's just and I know people have said before, it's not a thrower, it's a wall hanger. Jeremy sometimes doesn't always think that some discs should be special, but I'm keeping mine in the plastic bag. It's staying there for a while. But getting on to the actual tournament.
Well, and with that, let's just say this. Yeah, that awesome design that Todd DuPont had drawn for the disc on Thursday of the event, the first evening when people could start checking in and showing up and setting up for camping.
Mm-hmm.
Wally did it. We put a picture up of it. He dressed up exactly like the picture on the disc. He had his bucket hat on. He had his green shirt. He even had the red towel. I think the only thing anybody told us was that he just didn't stick his tongue out far enough like the picture. That was the one thing that was missing from his spitting image of the disc picture.
Exactly. Yeah. So you've seen the disc.
Yes.
So there is the disc, and there's Wally.
Yes.
It's perfect. He's got the green hat. He's got the green shirt. He's got the jeans. He's got the red towel.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he nailed it. Like you said, that was awesome. Good job, Wally.
So want to start with, we can talk about the event, but why don't we start with how you and I did? We kind of talked a little bit about it there with Martin, but we can kind of finish it off in case he's hanging around listening. Let's get that part out of the way.
Yeah.
So we
played 3-day tournament. We're used to playing 3 rounds on 2 days, 2 days on the Saturday, 1 day on the Sunday. This was the Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Friday and Sunday rounds were from the white tees at the Athabasca Rocky Lane Fairway Disc Golf Course, which is a disc golf course built on a existing golf course. So it's got a mixture of open golf holes as well as wooded holes. On the Saturday, Wally decided to throw a bit of a curveball and decided that most of the field, not everybody, but most of the field would then go and play from the blues, which I've never practiced and I've never played from. So that kind of was a bit of a game changer for a lot of the divisions.
It was, and with that too, we all whined a little because that's what you do when someone takes you out of your comfort zone. But what were we told? We were like, no, you know what? The blues are a bit easier. It opens
Yeah,
up some
opens up
lines,
some different lines.
and that was kind of the running statement of the weekend there.
Yeah,
But I know Wally was out first every single round, his card, because hey,
yeah,
it's his tournament. He needed to be back. He's TD. He needed to make sure.
yeah.
And I saw him as I was midway through my round. He was just finishing up. I said, Wally, how about those blues? He's like, I'm never doing that again.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I mean, so let's go from the Friday. You had an amazing round.
Oh, I
I
played
had-
the best round of my life.
Yeah, it was a great round by you. I didn't have such a great round, but you went out. I think you were the card ahead of me, or the card ahead of the card ahead of me.
Yes.
I think there was a 2-card gap between us. Yeah, not the greatest round for me. I don't know whether it's because I start cold and finish hot, or warm up, or just relax, or whatever it might be. But I ended up shooting a +12 from the whites. It's not my
Right.
greatest. But what did you shoot?
Well, let's say this. I started out a little rough as well. And I've always told you, you're always like, Jeremy, why you want to go out and play ahead of time? And I always tell you it takes me about 6 holes to kind of settle in.
Yeah.
But on this course, I kind of bogeyed, parred, birdied. Like I was like going between bogeys and birdies for a bit there.
Yeah.
And then by hole 6, I settled in. And by the time things were done, everything had clicked. And I shot a +1, Daryl. It was like an 889 rated round for me.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. And I was feeling good.
Yeah. +12 for me, +1 for you. 11 shots apart. There's no way we were going to be on the same card.
No, not the next day.
Not for the Saturday.
That was a bit of a spread.
Yeah, exactly. So on the Saturday, from the blues, a lot tougher course, if you want to say that, because it was from the blues. A lot of shots were pinched off. But like everybody said, it opens up different lines. I ended up shooting a +12 again from the blues. So I think that was a better +12 than the +12 from the whites. So I think I started to get a bit better, and I played better that day. Although the score didn't reflect it, I ended up with +24 after 2 rounds. But I felt good about playing from the blues.
Yes, and you did play well, because you're right. Like, to shoot the same as you did the day before, that's an accomplishment, being on those blues, because they just kind of ate me up alive right from the start. I missed the triple mando at the beginning, the archway.
Yeah.
And I got a birdie here or there, but then I hit a +16. I almost did bogey golf for the second round.
Yeah. +16 plus your +1 +17. I'm sitting at +24.
Yep.
7 shots. I've regained a little bit of the lead that you had. I've clawed you back in a little bit. Still not enough. Still not close enough for us to end up on the same card. So for all 3 days, we played on different cards.
Yeah, which is not something that normally happens. We usually get to play together once.
It's normally the TD knows that
chain out can't be separated.
It's Jeremy. So where's Daryl? So Jeremy and Daryl have to play on the same card. So on the Sunday, we went back to the whites.
And we might as well start with me. And
Sure.
what happened there is we're at the whites, and I'm playing a bit better, but I wasn't like Stella. I couldn't find my groove, right? Like, so but I did have, some moments of sunshine in there with some moments of darkness. But by the time it was done, I shot a +8. So I cut my +16 in half, but it wasn't quite up to where I wanted it to be.
Yeah. And that was the thing. +16, +8. So you're sitting at +24. And
Right.
even though I went out before you, I was already at +24. So I'd have to shoot even to at least tie with you. And I was out the card before you. And I did something, and I know I mentioned this earlier to Martin and Sandi. I did something that I don't normally do.
And what is that?
Got to hole 16, and I checked the scorecards. I actually looked to see, but you know why I checked? Because I was on a good run. I had an awesome throw in on hole 16.
Yes.
If you know Athabasca, if you know Rocky Lanes, hole 16, you're on an elevated tee pad. You're throwing through a tight, semi-tight gap of woods just off the tee. It opens up. There's hazard on the left, and it's wide open on the right. And the basket is behind a pine tree. The basket's behind the pine tree, just sitting there. I don't know how far away the basket is, but I remember thinking, okay, all I need to do is I need to go right. So I pulled out my Innova Turn, great disc, and it went through the gap. It flew out there, but it didn't turn as much as I thought it would. It started to hyzer back, and maybe I threw it too high. I had too much elevation because you're on an elevated tee pad, and I ended up in the hazard. I didn't think I could make it to the hazard, but I ended up in the hazard. So I'm sitting in the hazard, playing two, about 100 feet away. It's going to keep going back. It's going to be 150 feet by the next time I tell this story. But
Yeah, it
it
gets
was about
bigger and
100
bigger.
feet back.
And hole
Pulled out-
14 for
Oh.
everybody. Yes.
I do have one other disc that's not Innova in my bag, and I pulled out my Page Pierce Discraft Soul,
Yes.
very understable. Threw it out behind the tree. Roscoe is an Edgar member. He was on hole 17 on the tee pad. He seen me throw it, went out, perfect Anheuser all the way, crashed into the basket for a great par save. So that had me a little bit buoyed on that shot. I don't normally talk too much about, I did this on this hole. I did this on this hole. I should have shot this. I should have done. I don't really go in too much into my round, but that was one shot that I was quite impressed with.
Yes. And I heard the cheers. I was 2 cards back and I could hear the cheers for it. And I knew something was
Yeah.
It wasn't ace cheers, but I knew it was something good.
Yeah. And then I birdied up the hill on 17, sorry. So
No, you're
felt
talking
like I was
14, 15.
oh, sorry,
is where you are.
14.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, 14. Sorry. 14. And then I birdied 15, which is a par 4 uphill.
And now you're checking cards.
So then after that, I was like, okay, I've been on a good bit of pretty good run. I know I've birdied a few throughout the round as well. Like, I wonder where Jeremy is. And that was the only reason I was checking scores, just to see where you were.
Well,
But
I
knew
think
that I was about 2 shots behind you at that point, and you still had 3 or 4 holes to catch up.
Yeah.
So I ended up finishing with a +3, which was my best round of the weekend, the whole tournament. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough, and I finished +26.
You were plus 27. I was plus 25. So there
Yeah.
was a 2-stroke difference. But
Yeah.
that was just to go to say, as we said, is that we are very close players, at least right now, with our abilities, our consistencies. You know, you have your strengths, I have my strengths. And when it all shakes out, we're fairly even players. And we showed it again. But what we need to do is we need to do a little better in Falcons, because when you looked overall at our round rating for that event, it wasn't quite up to par with what our current PDGA ratings are. So we need to pick it up a little bit for Falcons.
Well, by the time, I guess there won't be another update before Falcons. So hopefully we can turn it around at Falcons and save our
rating from having a drop on in September.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fantastic for you, Daryl. And I knew that too, because you and I, we like to do something when we pass each other if we're not on the same card. And pretty much we just use the thumb, right? We just use our thumb to kind of indicate, and our facial expressions. I think we know each other well enough to read them, is that it's, as we walk by, we put our thumb out. It's either thumbs up means we're doing good, 2 thumbs up means it's a really great round, or it's on some scale from up to sideways to down.
Yeah.
And I think when you saw me put the 3/4 of the way down, you were like,
yeah. And it's normally a case of, we're like indicating who we're talking about. Me, bad round. Yeah.
Yeah. Me up. Yeah. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, but that's all right.
But it was a great event, great disc golf. Lots of great people that we played with on the cards.
Yeah.
Just a great event. I mean, Wally put on the event, so why wouldn't it be a great event? He's had 99 tournament experience, right? So
up until that point.
Yeah.
Well, and then Daryl, you had a little bit of fun playing in the Crokinole tournament. And for a guy who'd never touched a Crokinole chip before that night, you did pretty darn good.
Yeah. So there was a Crokinole tournament. You started everybody, I think they had 5 boards. Mm-hmm. Everybody got to play. The winner stood off to the side. Next pair came in and played. If you won, you went to see Wally. You told him your name. He put you through to the next round. So never touched a what did you call them?
I called it like a Crokinole chip or
chip. Sure, we'll call it that. I won my first game. It was against another guy that had just learned to play that weekend as well, or played a long time ago. Jason, I think his name was. So I got lucky. I beat him. So I managed to get through to the second round. Then I was up against Amanda, Todd DuPont's partner.
Yes.
And apparently she always beats him, so she thought she had a walkover. I got lucky again, and I made it.
Oh.
I got through the second round. Was that the second round? Now I'm thinking, was that the second round, or did I beat her in the third round?
How many did you win?
Well, spoiler, I played 3 rounds and I won all 3 games. So my first 3 games I've ever played in Crokinole, I won,
Nice.
which put me into the finals, which meant that I got to take on the big man himself, Wally.
Ooh. And he was bragging a pretty big game of his Crokinole that anybody who got to the finals had to beat him to win.
Yeah.
And did he live up to it? Because I didn't get to watch that one go down.
Well, it started off, I think we were, if you know the point system, if you know how Crokinole goes and all that, after about 2 or 3 ends or, shifts or whatever you want to call it, I think the score was about 35, maybe it was about 50 to 15.
50
So he had
for
some
who?
points
For
on
him?
me. No, he
Yeah.
had some points. Yeah, he had the 50. So he had some points on me. And then in the next round, he proceeded to get like 65 points and just completely whitewash me.
Yeah, because it goes up
So
to
it wasn't
100
close
right,
at all.
and it was done. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he smashed me.
So he lived up to it. Well, while
Yeah.
you were doing that, I was playing in the putting contest that was going on with just right behind you there.
Yeah.
And Robbie Lychuk, who is an amazing putter and did a great job volunteering all weekend. He has this left-handed hyzer putt that just goes straight at the basket every single time.
Yeah.
So it was, again, we would all take 2 putters, and if we got one in, we went a little further back, went a little further back. I went back and battled with Robbie and ended up winning a glitch out of it.
Nice.
So that was kind of pretty cool there. And we played
Yeah.
a few more of those tournaments. They gave away a number of discs. That was one thing about this tournament, is there was prizes upon prizes upon prizes the whole weekend. Hey.
And there was always activities to do. Like we said, the Crokinole, the part 2, the putting. There was, I know you had stepped out for some lunch or some supper, but there was a accuracy distance driving.
Mhm.
There was rollers. There was roller jump putts off a ramp into a basket. And then aside from that, they also had 2 separate challenges on 2 separate nights. On the Friday night, there was the ace race.
Yes.
There was a small little 9-hole course set up in the pathways in the woods. You had a little scorecard. You took 2 discs with you. Threw the first one for the hole number 1. You threw the second one for hole number 10. So you didn't have to go around twice. You just threw 2 discs. Ace run, 2 points for an ace, 1 point for a medal hit.
3 for an ace, 1 for a medal.
Oh, was it 3 for an ace? I don't know, because spoiler
we
alert,
didn't get one.
We didn't get one. But I did manage to hit medal.
You did.
It did just graze the top of the basket. So
that was a
that was
pretty
on the Friday
humbling
night.
experience, because these were not far holes.
No, they were just long. They were like jump putts, basically. A little bit longer, maybe. But that was on the Friday night. On the Saturday night, same course, but it was a par 2 challenge. So you took the same 2 discs, but rather than just running it for the ace and then picking it up and walking on, you actually had to putt out the rest of the hole as well. So it was a par 2. I think some beverages have been consumed at that point, and we didn't really keep track of our scores. I think you were plus 16 at one point. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was playing pretty high. I don't think it was 16, but it was up there. Maybe it was 12. I don't know. I was trying forehands. I was trying everything. And like you said, is we had a beer in one hand and we had the discs in the other. It was just a good, fun time.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the raffle, they had, as you can imagine, Wally got a lot of donations, a lot of prizes to give away for the raffle. I had my tickets. It was getting through pretty much near the end, and I hadn't won anything. I'm beginning to think that, I'm a jinx at these tournaments. But I did win something.
What'd you win?
And I don't know if Tim and Kristen are still in the chat, or if Brock is still in the chat, but I won something that I think is pretty cool.
It's a piece of history, isn't it?
It's a piece of Edgar history. Almost want to put this in a cabinet somewhere, but
right beside your Wally disc.
Yeah. I won an 09 Edgar putter. And when I asked Wally what it was, it took him a while, but we got there in the end. It is a Gateway
Wizard, we think.
No,
right?
It's not a Wizard. It was the brand that made the Wizard, and we figured it out in the end. It was Gateway. Okay. It's a Gateway putter with an 09 Edgar stamp on it. That's pretty special.
And the
So it
interesting
doesn't.
thing
It's
is
not
the
marked on
rim.
the inside. It has a groove on the inside. I don't know if you can hear that.
3 lines.
3-line groove on the inside.
Yeah.
So that's pretty special. I like that.
Yeah, and I managed to win a Mamba, which was awesome as well. Just add another disc to it.
Yeah.
But the one thing I got here too is I've got our winners, and Wolfpack represented this weekend.
They certainly did. Yeah.
Like we were hearing howling. I think they took 50% of the wins pretty much in there. So why don't we hammer through these?
Dylan in the chat said, and I don't know if he's saying that it's an old disc, but he's saying it's a relic.
So is that
So I
the
don't-
name of the
Yeah.
disc or
Oh.
is it a relic?
Are you saying, oh, you're kind of seeing behind the scenes here. You shouldn't be seeing this.
Yeah, you can pull it down. There you go.
There you go. Is it the name of the disc that it's a relic, or is that old that it's a relic? Is that what you're saying? I don't know. But should we quickly run through the winners?
I think we should.
Okay.
So MPO Charles Gobet was the
Yep.
winner.
MP50, Chad Gamlin.
Do you know what that FOTS means at the end of my notes?
No.
Friend of the show, Chad
Friend of
Gamlin.
the show, Chad Gamlin won the MP50.
MA1 was none other than our good buddy and friend of the show, Mark Thompson, taking down, I think that's his first ever win at a tournament, isn't it?
It's got to be an
I don't-
exclamation mark or an asterisk beside that.
Yeah.
MA40, Todd DuPont lit it up out there, finishing with -3 on the weekend. The same whites, blue, whites. That's an amazing score.
Yeah, and we had in MA40, we had the largest division of the weekend, and nobody else had low scores like that.
Right.
FA40, Tracy St. Jean.
MA50 on Andrew Mitchell.
MA2, Brent Bathgate,
FA3, Dakota Bishop.
to finish off the whole family winning that weekend. MA4, Adam Julin.
FA4, Nicole Brown.
And MJ15, Finley Buchan.
Buchan.
Buchan? Wasn't Buchanan. There wasn't an
No, not
extra A in
Buchanan.
there. No.
Buchanan. There we go.
That's Wally's. Thanks for listening. Let's finish this off. This weekend has a
Let's go.
lot of tournaments coming up. We got the Lakeland Open in Kitscoty, Wicked Woods 4 happening in Hinton, and the NADGT National Championships in Lethbridge are happening all this weekend. And Noah Higgins is doing a disc golf clinic. So you're looking for some disc golf this weekend, you got it in Alberta. So make it happen.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about Wicked Woods or the NADGT, but I know the Lakeland Open, they're looking for players. So if you want to get out and play this weekend, you want to play a quick tournament, you want to make sure you can get in, get out there. Wildman will be out there selling discs. Lakeland Open in Kiscotty.
That's right.
Pros on tour, Jeremy.
Sophia Donica. She really is taking a break, man. She hasn't played anything. We've been talking about, we said, oh, she'll pick something up. Nope,
Yeah.
she's taking a
No,
break.
she's
She's
taking a
still
break.
signed up for nationals.
Yeah. Tommy G, Thomas Gilbert, currently at the Worlds. He was 22nd in doubles with Miss Chantel Badinsky. Go check out her YouTube video. There's a highlight video of her and Thomas there. Chantel laying up in the fairway, placing her shots. Thomas just ripping bombs down the
Yes.
fairway. Not always staying in bounds, I might add. Thomas, work on your OB.
Yes.
Listen to Clemonade. But yeah, an absolute bomber of a drive. Great throws. Between the two of them, they took down 22nd. He got 4th in the long drive, which is amazing. Only
Mhm.
being beaten by Anthony Barella, Albert Tam, and Ezra Adahold.
Right.
Coming in 4th with 655 feet.
Yeah.
With a 4 times destroyer, because I asked him.
Cool.
And took down 4th in the skill shot competition as well.
Yeah. And then Chantel Badinsky, of course, she's down at Worlds because she played in the doubles.
Yeah.
And she placed 8th in the putting competition on the FPO side.
Yeah. Max Regitnik, he's also at Worlds. We're really interested to see how the pros do at New London because we've heard Foundation Disc Golf talk so much about it down there. It looks like a tight course.
Yeah, and I
Very
was listening
hard.
a little bit to Tour Life already, and they were talking about it with all the pros, looking at all the Instagram posts. It just looks like Ivy and New London. This is going to be a great Worlds event.
Yeah. And I'm glad that they move it around.
Mm-hmm. So, Daryl, that brings us to the end of the show. We really tightened it up there at the end. It took us a while, but we did it.
We did. We've had a couple of words. We
What
had
were the couple?
Chain Out the Wood. Brian Allen. Not sure what Brian Allen came out of there, but so if anybody else has got any last call for secret words.
We have also got
any
Relic.
suggestions?
Relic came in right at the end.
Relic came in at the end. We like that.
Yeah. And I also like my what did I kind of say there earlier? Was it like the super sibling duo? Something like that? Or super spin?
Super spin sibling duo.
Yeah, something like that.
Super spin. I like super spin.
Okay, so super spin.
Super spin relic.
Super spin relic. Let's do it. Lock it in.
It's done. Leave it in the comments. Try and get super spin relic into a sentence. That way, anybody who reads the comments won't realize what's going on. They won't just realize that everybody's commenting super spin relic. Try and get it into a sentence. We appreciate it. Leave a comment down below.
And if you want to see it, how this type of thing works with these words and stuff, MVP recently had a post where they put 5 different discs in it, and I worked my magic, and that got my post pinned on the MVP site. So if you want to see how to put some secret words in, check that post out.
Go to MVP Instagram. Look at them releasing their new discs for MVP Open. The pinned comment.
That's us.
Jeremy's. Okay. Thanks, everybody. We had a good episode.
And there's only one thing left to do, Daryl.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to throw this relic.
No.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because it's a bit of history. You know, it's got the 09 stamp on it. So you could just say, oh, it's just any disc. It's an old disc. But the fact that it's got the 09 stamp on it.
Yeah.
It's over 15 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to throw it. But if I was to throw it on hole 14 at Athabasca, it would take me a long time to get there. But once I got to the basket, if I was in OB and I threw that onto Manheiser,
yes,
it wouldn't do anything like my Disc Crest Soul.
It wouldn't. What would it do?
Because I'm throwing it, there's only one thing it would do.
It's only one thing it could do.
There's only one thing it should do.
Chain out!
Thanks, everybody.